There's always a little delay. Always a slight delay for the gravy. The gravy is simmering. Let's see, are there any BB and Crrow777 on this channel at 11? Yeah, we're actually starting 5 minutes early, but the first 5 minutes will just be me kind of filling you guys in on some stuff. Hi, everybody. What's going on? This is episode 740, Crrow777, and I didn't know Jason's going to be on as well, which is an added treat. Crow is now on is on D Live, and so this is a great opportunity to let you guys know to follow him on D Live. It's before we start talking, it is dlive.tv/Crrow777 radio, and that's Crow with 2 R's. So we're going to talk today about the historical reset because Dave Weiss had this touching video that he just released where he was talking to this 100-something-year-old about how she learned the earth was flat in school and when things started changing and how she grew up on a farm and all this really cool stuff. And I know that Crow has some opinions about when history started getting grabbled and history's a lie agreed upon and all that. And also gut health because Jason and Crow just did a recent stream with a dude talking all about what we've been talking about here. I don't know if he's quite ready to address turpentine being legit. I've been getting a lot of emails. People are like, Big Bear, how dare you? You're poisoning yourself with turpentine. Dude, a teaspoon of turpentine is an ancient remedy. A lot of blue zones in China have been doing it, and they live to be like 130. We'll talk about that as well. But first, I just want to show you guys something pretty funny, and if you have any advice for it. So here is what my wife does every night with the pillows on our bed. As you can see, it's this giant pillow V formation, and each of us only use one pillow. And so what we've been doing for years, and we've just never spoke on it, so let me know if anybody knows how I can bridge this topic. I've been a professional comedian who can talk about literally anything to anybody for 20 years. But for some reason, I don't know how to begin to address this because it makes so little sense to me. I don't know where to start. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pillows, 8, 9 total pillows, but 7 pillows every night. When I go to bed, I just take the pillows and I put them on the ground. And then we sleep. And then the next day, she makes the bed and puts all the pillows back on the bed. And I don't understand any reason for it at all. Other than, Vox said it just looks nice, but to who? There's nobody in our bedroom ever. The dogs don't even go. All right. So if anybody understands this, email me whydidn'ttheylaugh@gmail.com or comment on one of the YouTube channels that puts this up or unauthorized.tv. Let me know if your wife or anyone in your family has this thing where they stack useless pillows. And then, guys, I'm telling you, this has happened probably a few thousand times. The pillows get put on. I remove them, just put them on the ground. We sleep. No one's ever used the pillows. And then the next day, they have returned. And I don't even know where to begin. All right, so let's kick this thing off. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Crrow777, who's now on D Live, and his co-host, Jason Lingram. Welcome, fellas. How are you?
Hey, man. Thanks for having us on.
Oh, dude,
Hello.
Hey, Jason. Yeah, I got to hang with Jason in Dallas. Awesome, dude.
But by the way, I know all about the pillows.
Oh, I'm sure you do. You probably did, hundreds of hours of scope work looking at pillows. So, all right, let me know what's going on with the pillows.
It's pretty simple, man. Does your wife like the pillows?
She does.
All right, there it is. Pick your battles, my friend. Wife likes the pillows. It's that simple.
I know. That's why I'm not battling it. That's why, for me, I like that she's happy, and it's like it doesn't affect me in a negative way. So I'm not like no more pillows, but I just don't even know where the logic begins with it, and I guess she has a million things.
Part of the women reason are here to balance men is men want everything clean cut and logical.
Yeah.
And we look at those pillows and we can't find any logic in it. But you see, it's your wife's job to come unbalance that logic to keep the universe spinning. That's
true.
how it works.
That's true, man. Yeah, it's the moon and the sun. It's La Luna. It's like every now and then. Yeah. So I'm really happy to see you guys on D Live, and I'm going to plug it again real quick. So there's probably going to be 5,000 or 6,000 people here live, and then another 100,000 will watch it. So guys, after we talk, you'll realize why you should subscribe to their channel, because you'll see how profoundly interesting these guys are. But just on the basis of my recommendation, just go ahead and subscribe to dlive.tv/CRROW777 radio. Yeah, because what's going on with YouTube? Because you have like 100 or 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, and are you feeling the censorship twist?
Well, we know, they've made some runs at it. We know where this heads ultimately. Ultimately, there will only be approved content on a platform like YouTube. That's the nature of the beast, and it is the beast. Do not be fooled. And so we know where this is going, so we're trying to migrate. As a matter of fact, I just saw that Rose is in your D-Live stream. So Rose, go ahead and kick our D-Live into the chat if you want. The whole point here is to try to start to migrate people off YouTube.
I love it. I'm turning on my camera right now. Hang on, because I think Jason's streaming this right now at your channel as well. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why a lot of these creators, they don't realize that the censorship and the psychosis of a lot of these platforms only hurts the platform in the end. It's almost like, and that's when a platform like DLive comes in, or Crrow777radio.com, which I am a subscriber to, and I recommend everybody get that extra hour. Is if they want to play games, they can play less games. Like a girl can play less games with you when she knows that you got a pretty female friend that likes you at work, And I think that's what we're facing here with DLive and stuff. It's like they can only play games when it's a monopoly, and the nature of there's no lie in nature. Nature abhors a vacuum and abhors a monopoly. There will always start becoming competitive species coming in if there's any output of energy whatsoever everywhere,
So, here's the thing, though, Owen, and they've proved this before. Remember, I think it was Jason who actually found it first. The amount of money they lost in revenue for advertising in the fall of 2017, it was freaking staggering.
$1 billion.
And
$1 billion.
It proved that the laws of corporation no longer applied to them. In a normal corporation, you lose that kind of cash. The CEO, the COO, it's all their butts. That's not what happened. And what that tells us is this is not about money. They don't give a damn. They'll throw it all away to have control. And so that's really what's annoying about this. The normal rules of the universe don't apply to these clowns because money isn't a problem, apparently.
But here's the beauty.
Let me tell you, I looked that up on other places.
Yeah.
Gillette, there was a big article months ago about Gillette losing billions of dollars for this nonsense. So, and their CEO put out an article saying, "Oh, it's okay. We're happy to have done this because we were part of the solution, not part of the problem," kind of attitude.
Yeah, but here's the
ridiculous.
Beauty. I know, but here's the beauty, and you guys know this better than anybody. That's why I think we gravitate towards each other, is it isn't true. And so if they don't want to acknowledge it, if they want to think that people are always going to be gravitated towards their fiat currency, they're lying to themselves. Look at the Oscars last night. So I didn't even realize it was on. My wife, who made her own wedding dress, is like a very American female, like loves fashion, loves all that stuff. Didn't even know it was on. We didn't watch it. No power over our minds, no influence. It's like people can run nonsense. And like I did a video a while back called Who Killed MySpace, about how when I used to be one of the top comedians on MySpace, and I witnessed the Federal Reserve money machine just buy it out for like $900 million when it wasn't worth that, just to bring in DARPA-approved Facebook. Yeah, they can do that all they want, but it isn't real, and people aren't attracted to anything that fraudulent or constructed. And the more they do that, the less power they really have. It's almost like yeah, go ahead.
Let's address that, man. Let's talk about how they inch forward with control. They do it with fear porn. Hold on, let me fill this ringer. Just a second. Sorry about that.
I love it. I love it that you can tell by the ringer. You can tell by the ringer that's not an iPhone. That's old school.
that is so old. You don't even want to know. Jason's about to start busting up. I went to trade in my car the other day, and the dude's all, "Do you have apps on your phone?" I'm all, "No." And he looked me in the eye and he said, "How do you live, man?" I said, "Like I did when I was 15. Then he asked me how I was going to start my car, and I said, "With a freaking key." But to get back to the point, they're using fear porn. And the perfect example of the fear porn that's pushing forward their control right now is Corona nonsense virus.
Right.
As a matter of fact, our good friend Dave Weiss took the time to go back to 2002 to show us swine flu, bird flu, Zika flu, Ebola flu, all these things that were going to kill us. It's all a lie. This is all driven by fear. And if people can kind of get out of their diapers, quit being that child in the dark room, and quit being afraid, it's not so easy for these clowns anymore. But if we quit being afraid, I guarantee you they're going to fill a fake stadium with puppies and blow it up. They will do whatever it takes to get their fear.
I know, and that's why comedy is such a... When I got into comedy, I had no idea that I would be towards the front of the spear when it comes to these cultural wars. But then it dawned on me how effective comedy is at dispelling fear. You know, the week Corona became a thing, our joke that went very viral was a nice cold coronavirus is great with a Lyme disease. You know, and it's just like, you're just making fun of how Corona beer and Lyme is great together, and it just makes people not get scared. They're just like, oh, this is just another silly fear thing. And laughter is kind of the opposite of fear in a lot of ways, you know?
So I'm seeing someone saying there's a terrible echo on our D stream.
I got it fixed.
Okay, I'm shutting down Windows because I don't know if it's me, but
No,
yeah,
no,
I mean,
no.
would you agree, Owen? If you historically, logically look back at how we came to be, we can show that fateful day in 2001 is when the beast came out of the cave into the light of day and looked everyone in the eye and said, "Our asses are so big, we're coming, and you can't stop us." And from that point forward, it's been one false fear porn epidemic after another, which has allowed them to creep forward. And what it comes down to is we're going to get what we deserve here. If we act like a bunch of scared children and they scream Corona, we're going to get what we got coming to us. But on the inverse of that is if we act like grown adults and quit being afraid of the dark, this doesn't work.
Exactly. And it is a personal battle, because if you see it as personal and you fight it as best you can personally, other people will be drawn to it and raise up because of your personal battle.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it. I used to be a little wary thinking about how many people had to wake up before any real change was happening. And then I realized, no, it's only just me. And then from me, other people can just go, oh, I can act like that. And then more people see that person. They're like, oh, we just can not reject this. And it's like, yeah. And it is a personal battle. And if you view it as personal, it's a lot more achievable than what we think it is sometimes, you know?
Well, there's another side to this too. What modern media does is it draws the total us and them parallel all the time. And if human beings will start treating human beings like they should, a lot more of their power goes away. If you give a damn about your neighbor, if you give a damn about those people across the world you've never met, then it's not so easy for people to get screwed with because everybody's taking care of everybody. You just mentioned the Oscars. I didn't see it, but what I did see was some commercials where they were showing the announcement and all these people in a room waiting with bated breath. And when they made the announcement, everyone screamed, "Oh yeah, this person I've never met, don't know. There may not even be a real person. They just won. And I'm so happy." What they're doing is setting the human example using media. That's how all this works.
Exactly.
Because human beings learn by example, and TV is a good fake example, to be blunt about it.
Yeah. No, that's so true, man. It's the blueprint. You know, it's kind of like monkey see, monkey do. And the good news is people aren't idolizing celebrity anymore. And that's something really big. And then another thing that people are starting to realize is that it's up to them to eat the right food and to battle these health problems themselves. Someone sent me this great meme today. I'll just, let's see what we got here. It says, this is an antidepressant, and it's just nature, and then this is shit, and it's just pills. Where it's like, and then my other buddy, who's this big trainer, he's awesome. He's coming up to visit me soon, but just very, very big on health. Sent me this meme that said, in 1970, Richard Nixon started the war on cancer, and it was like 1 in 5 Americans would get cancer, and now it's like 1 in 2, 1 in 3, and so that's why it's not scary. It's just a time to say, okay, I have to reject poison. I have to know where my food comes from. You know, we are like our bodies do function as a giant universe of bacteria and other organisms, and we don't want to have the bad parasites in here screaming at us anymore. You know.
Well, think about, we just had John Brisson on. I know you were commenting on that. He pointed out what antibio against life.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, antibiotics is one of those things that can actually save your life.
Yeah.
Probably if we were healthy human beings, we wouldn't need them as much, but it makes you wonder. If they quit hiding the corn kernels in those capsules, would people catch on that they're eating shit?
Yeah. It's just like, what's your guys' take on water? Because I just got a distiller because Weiss got me into that.
Yep.
But it says that leaches minerals, but at the same time, it's like, how can you go bad with pure water? And I also hear that it sucks heavy metals out of your system, which is a good thing.
So this is what I know about it. And again, John Brisson would be a good person to have here. What I'm hearing, I've done distilled water, but I have a great source of water. So I know that I'm getting the minerals. If you just switched over, as far as I know, and I don't claim to be a Mr. Know-it-all, I'm telling you where I'm currently at.
Yeah.
If you just took distilled water and drank it and nothing else, it can leach out over time the good minerals and things. But I think it's a good thing for the simple reason of what you pointed out. Some of the things you're washing out. It just means that you've got to be vigilant and get the things in your body you need. And by the way, very few people, well, I'll use this example. How many people have heard of cell salts? They're usually numbered 1 through 12,
yep.
And they're associated with a month of the year, rightly. You know what that is? That's what a plant pulls out of the ground and titrates or makes very tiny and combines with other nutrients so your body can absorb it. So my point here is eat a damn apple, eat a damn orange, eat these things to get those minerals and vitamins back in you. And you can do things like cell salts, but as we all know, if you're living month to month, these good things are not cheap.
Yeah, Himalayan salts are big. Oh, and just to let you guys know, Ali Damagard, who's, I don't know if you know him, Crow, but he's cracked a lot of the false flag hoaxes and the hoax patterns. He's this old school
I'm aware of him, yeah.
Yeah, so he said the latest attack had no shoes on the crime scene, but happened right outside the shop's boots and shoe zone. One of the witnesses is a stand-up comedian who happened to be there as well as being a witness to the latest London attack. You can't make this shit up. I just thought that's another thing that dispels fear a little bit is when someone can see a pattern where like after every hoax shooting, there's just random shoes because it triggers that MK Ultra pile of shoes from the Holocaust situation, you know?
Not only that, I think that is a version of the Paul is dead idea and a version of the truth down the well. The only way you could tell the lie from the truth was true. The lie had no feet.
Yeah.
You see, so
wow,
this is all
wow.
playing into archetypes and everything else. I think it was 6 years ago, the Jungle Surfer was the first person I'm aware of that pointed out the whole shoe thing. But he's not wrong. Oli Damagard is not wrong because these are the examples that human beings have seen through media. But under all the examples, there is an archetype. And if I had to venture a guess without doing my due diligence, which I always try to do, I would say this is Veritas down the well. There's your no feet. There's your lie with no feet.
Yeah, and for those of you guys that are wondering what he's talking about, check out Crow's and Jason's episode about CNN and Veritas down the well. It's fascinating about how there was ancient mythology about how to tell a lie is they have no feet. There was some god
Prometheus.
Yeah, Prometheus. Yeah, made the lie out of clay. And
no, made the truth. Prometheus made the truth, then the trickster god made the lie, but didn't have enough clay.
Right. Yeah, and just check it out. It's fascinating stuff. All right, so what recommendations do you guys have for gut health? Because you guys know a lot about this, and I've been on this crazy kick to kill the parasites. Because in my mind, that David Icke Archon thing never made much sense to me. I reacted very similar to you, Crow, where it was like, I've never seen one, but it makes sense to me when dealing with gut parasites that feed on wrath, pride, vanity, all the deadly sins. they almost are trying to convince you to excrete these different hormones that end up killing you, you know? What's your...
So I think
Go ahead.
Jason might be a little further on this, but the main thing is you are what you eat, basically. And these pharmaceuticals, let me tell you something about these damn pharmaceuticals. And you've got to be your own boss about this. But most of these pharmaceuticals, if you read the side effects alone, it's like your skin's going to fall off and you're treating a rash. That should tell you something. You know, who wants rectal bleeding? Pretty sure nobody listening.
Right.
So the first thing is all these drugs they've got you on are doing bad things to your body. But secondarily, if you eat at KFC, which by the way, verbatim encodes 9/11 idea, you're eating crap. And you got to get good food into your body. But Jason probably knows a lot more about the gut health than I do.
There's a lot of things I can contribute to that. First of all, the KFC thing. When I was younger, I was in bands and I used to work at major restaurants. And I learned a lot about how things are done. And it's all about profit margin. So the average restaurant, if they're going over 20% food cost, meaning it's costing them more than 20% what they're charging to make money, then the kitchen manager is going to get fired because that's usually down to that person's fault. So think about that for a moment. What must be going into that food to make that profit margin? So unless something is really making a big deal about using good ingredients, it's the lowest common denominator that they can get away with. So keep in mind every time you go out, not to say that I don't ever go out, but a lot of times Rose and I go for sushi or something it's more reasonably healthy at a place that we can go to that's decent. But let's get on water for a second. I use what's called a gravity filter. I don't know if you're familiar with these at all, Owen.
I'm not, but go on.
Well, there's 3 companies that basically do the same thing that I'm aware of, and that's ProPure, Alexa Pure, and Berkey. And my personal one is Alexa Pure, but they're all pretty much the same thing. Just make sure you get one that also has the included arsenic/fluoride filter. And all you do is set it up and pour water in, and they call it a gravity filter because it's literally just dripping through. And it's not going to be distilled in the sense that it's getting everything out where it's as pure can be kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's going to have a slight mineral trace content. But I'll tell you, when I first started using these things years ago, the first thing I noticed, other than, this water doesn't taste like tap water nastiness, is that the coffee I made tasted fantastic.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's like that with the goat milk, like the living goat milk, the unpasteurized goat milk.
Right. I love it
Yeah,
when I can get it.
Yeah, the first thing I noticed is, wow, my coffee tastes way better with this. It's
it's alive. It's alive.
Yeah, and we make and I know, Crow, you were talking about cheese. We make our own cheese here with the goat milk, and it's really good.
This is why they've pasteurized and homogenized everything, because what it means is what you ingest has no life in it when it's been pasteurized. That's the whole point. That's why when you go over to Europe, you'll find all these cultures that still won't allow that to happen. And they're getting, like, go to Switzerland, where the kings of the universe live, and look at their unpasteurized cheese. See, what we do is we open a box. Everything in that box is dead and has been for quite some time.
Notice it's called cultures.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if they were to pasteurize our culture, we wouldn't have any, right? So that's a good way to look at it, actually.
Yeah.
But, a couple of things you've said here are pretty important. The idea of getting fluoride out of your water is so critically important if you don't want to be a drooling dimwit with no possibility of a higher mind. And the other thing, which is what got immediate respect from me, is Owen told you the truth about pornography, but maybe what he didn't hammer home is the reason. Every time a man or a woman ejaculates, your life force is diminished.
Yeah.
How many times, and I don't mean to be rude here, but how many times have you had to speak in public and you had sex with your wife, just to be polite about it, that day, and you notice you can't speak as well?
Yeah,
totally. I guarantee you every heavyweight boxer from the beginning of time was told you don't have any female companionship and we're putting gloves on your hands till the big fight day because you're not going to get weakened. My point is if you continually have orgasms as a man, you are pouring out your life force, the soul, to be specific, according to alchemy. And the other thing is the fluoride in the water. It's calcifying, literally calcifying your, what they call the third eye, your pineal gland in the center of your brain. Little thing looks like a pine cone.
Yeah, and semen gets, if you just waste that, That's it as zinc and selenium, which are two extremely valuable minerals that you just keep draining, and it also takes a lot of blood to make it, and so that's why when people are just constantly draining themselves, they're zombifying themselves. That's why I tell young guys, masturbation makes you weak, but porn will like twist your soul because they'll like do this spiritual connection where you're climaxing to some really terrible stuff in the world, which on a spiritual level is really harmful. But just draining your balls, it's like that's like just taking gasoline out of a car, and zinc and selenium are not always easy to replenish. That's why the aphrodisiacs are like clams and oysters and stuff, things high in zinc. But if you just stop draining your vitality, you won't lose all your zinc and selenium,
Yeah, I was actually looking at old Masonic documents and a new link for an online archive I got, and that was one of the first things. There were 3 ways you could drain your life force, and that was the primary way. And these are important ideas. When you come to a culture as we have in the West, and I love to say over and over, we have no culture in the West. We just don't have it. We like some movies, we watch some TVs. That's basically Western culture in the United States at this point. The cultures that came here came from other places, but that too has been homogenized through television and film. So the point I'm making here is if you just go around eating crappy food, drinking bad water, taking pharmaceuticals, and having way too much sex, guess what, man? Put on your diapers because you're now a drooling idiot.
Yeah, and I would actually make the claim that our culture revolves around homesteading, where the American culture that I think people should aspire to is community sufficiency with, goats, cows, chickens, building stuff. Yeah. I think that the non-grabbled, non-Hollywoodized Wild West, not the shooting everybody. In fact, the Wild West had like 1 murder a year. It's been completely... rewritten to try and push the narrative that without government, everyone becomes a psychotic rapist. But I think... You
mean John Ford?
Yeah, John Ford.
Dude, that episode you guys did was fascinating. Those guys are... That changed how I viewed all of that entire history of cinema. So check that one out,
by the way, women played a much larger role in some respects than men even did in the founding of what we call the Wild West. But in movies, all we ever see is the bar girl. It's ridiculous.
Of course. It's like the women, Amy and I live a fairly homesteady life with a lot of help from the fiat. I still go to Wilco to get straw and stuff. I'm not off grid yet, but to see how much work is done as the mother, as the spinner of wool, as the, so many jobs that she does. It's incredible. And in that environment, you can, without the upside down feminist nonsense that the woman needs to act like a tax cow, like a man, and be a mother and a salt miner, you can actually really, really appreciate the feminine and the woman's role when you see them in their natural habitat, which is doing what they're really, 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 really good at, which is just creating life, nurturing life, making sure everyone is warm and healthy, and the man moves heavy stuff. And, it works together so well when you see it in nature. And then when it's bastardized, it works so terribly when you put a woman in a little cubicle and just get her to abort her kids and just dye her hair purple, gain 100 pounds and hate the world,
Well, think about to the past. The American dream is always about getting the home, getting the homestead, like that kind of thing. It wasn't until later on that everything turned into materialism.
Exactly, and the mortgage and all that, like buying a home. That's why I tell all the young guys in my chat that the dream is to get a small or a piece of land that you can afford without a loan. Build a yurt, start a community, have friends that can all chip in with different skill sets and build. And that's doable, even in this psychotic society, because, it's almost like the Truman Show. They can send all this propaganda at us, all this soul-crushing parasitic bullshit. But, in the Truman Show, that one guy was like, Truman can leave anytime he wants. He just has to conquer his fear of exploration and reject the materialism. And he eventually did,
Yeah, there's another thing about what you're doing, though. We know there is no lie in nature, but when you're farming on a level like you are, think about the difference between the average American and the person making their own milk and cheese. First of all, when you go into the grocery store to grab your crappy pasteurized milk that came from a damn cow, don't ask me why human beings live on cow milk. Human beings should live on human being milk. It should be different. My point here is they're not thinking, is there pus in this cow milk? Well, there is pus in that cow milk. But when you do it, you're thinking, I know how this milk was made. As a matter of fact, I've been paying attention and I know how I can make this milk better because I can treat my goat better and I can feed my goat better. And it's the same with the cheese. So this whole other level of truth starts contributing to making you a higher functioning human being. And all of it provably true because it's occurring in nature.
Oh, absolutely. And my goat just gave birth, and it's similar to what you guys have talked about with entry. The what's it called, the episode
port of entry.
Yeah. So she gives birth, immediately eats the placenta, eats the afterbirth. The Federal Reserve guys showed up, but it was already eaten.
The goats are smarter than we are. How bad is that when the goats are brighter than we are?
And they also have stronger maternal instincts than some of the programmed women in the world. If you take the calves away or the kids away from the goat mother, she will all night long looking for her kids. And and you don't see that with some human fluoridated women when they take their kids and when they send their kids to daycare so that they can earn money for new shoes. It's fascinating to see the humanity in some of these animals. Oh, and here's a story that you guys might get a kick out of. That's one of the reasons I wanted to have Crow on, is 2 of our ducks got taken out by a hawk, and then I found out that the natural enemy of the hawk is the crow. And so if you have, and if you have enough crows in your, and because I was looking up because it's super illegal to just like shoot a crow with a hawk with a BB gun these days, and I'm obviously very protective of the ducks. So then you start looking into what's the natural predator, and it's the crow. So you can scare away the hawk for me.
Yeah, the thing about the crows is most people don't know they speak their own language, and a crow from one group, unfortunately called a murder because they're black and because people are short-sighted, that crow can go to another group of crows and teach the dialect or vice versa. As a matter of fact, there's clips online about the New Caledonian crow solving puzzles more quickly than I think a 6-year-old child. They do a German Shepherd, a child, and a crow. Actually, I'm always amazed by birds. Like some of those parrots, there's something going on. They're doing more than mimicking because they make the right sound at the right time. But yeah, it's a thing. This all started in San Diego when all the chemtrailing and everything had gotten so far out of hand. When I was young, there were crows, just not by the thousands. We would wake up in Lemon Grove in San Diego and there would be a murder of 1,000 crows. And it just became a symbol of how unbalanced everything had become. Because they'd come into the city centers to try to make their living. They were smart enough to do it, but it was clearly a yardstick for how far out of balance we had become. That's part of how all that started.
Wow. Yeah, and the baby boomer ducks that we call them, because they trust NASA, I was telling the guys that's probably why they got taken out, is they never looked up because they believe what the white lab coat guys told them, so the hawks came in. Here's some gravy for you guys. I want to know if you have any theories. So I'm not going to shoot an eagle or a hawk. I just want the internet to know this. But I was looking into it in case there was, one of these birds of predatory birds just taking out my animals. And it's so illegal to kill a bird of prey that it dawned on me that every time they make these things illegal, whether it's uranium or apricot seeds or Gerson method or whatever, there always is a health benefit. And there's tons of eagles. Like they're everywhere. Like where I live, there's no shortage of eagles. There's more shortage of nuclear families than there is eagles. So my question is there something like magical and alchemical about eagle and hawk feathers? Because it's like the FBI will come and like take your car if you like shoot an eagle.
What was the symbol of Rome? It was the eagle. What is the symbol of the United States? It's because it's that apex predator idea. But I was just thinking, how everyone always puts owls up to keep pigeons away? You should try putting some crows up.
I'm going to do that. Yeah.
You should give it a go and see if it works. I was not directly aware. I mean, I lived out in East County, San Diego, and I knew crows don't get messed with. As a matter of fact, the only time I ever saw a crow get messed with, there was a pecan tree next door, and these parrots got released years ago, and there's huge crowds of green parrots in San Diego, and they come to take over this pecan tree, but the crows want it too. But while the sun's up and it's warm, the parrots own that bush, and they're just like going at it. But as soon as the sun starts cooling off, the crows come in and take it over. It was fascinating to watch. But here's the thing. They would fight, but they never tried to hurt each other. They just wanted the pecans. I never saw a parrot or a crow get killed. And you know damn well a parrot beak could clip off a crow arm or vice versa. But it's a heck of a thing to watch. But if I was you, I'd try looking for some plastic crows and put them up, see if it works.
I'm also just going to use twine and just make it so they can't dive bomb the little pond. But we do pretty well on the farm. Like I have 50 chickens. We've lost 0 to dive bombing. But I was just wondering if you think like eagle or hawk feathers like cure, because it usually revolves around curing cancer. If something can cure cancer, they make it illegal. So I was just like, besides the symbol of the apex predator, do you think there's anything like ridiculously healthy about eagle feathers?
I think it's symbolic. I mean, I know that the indigenous peoples used them to symbolize things. And usually what they did was like I just saw a breakdown on the actual true reality of feathered hairdresses. It was about initiation level. And the idea was the chief was the most highly initiated and illuminated person. So he had that elaborate set of feathers. Which got perverted by Hollywood. They don't really look like that, but there's clearly something to the idea of what the feather symbolizes, flight, and its potential for the human. See, everything hinges on you. People don't understand that your mind precedes everything. It is provably a fact that your mind precedes everything. In other words, to shape this reality, if you can get 1 million people to believe in nonsense, then you in some way have affected this reality with nonsense because so many people believe in it. So maybe, I don't want to say totem because people start thinking black magic, but you see, when you have a symbol like a feather and everybody agrees that this is symbolic of a higher state, enough minds that accept that starts to steer things in a direction. That would be my stab at it.
Yeah, I just found it interesting how the laws are so crazy around it. But I think I'm going to get a murder of crows because they just seem like the best bodyguards. And someone in the chat just pointed out that they're interdimensional.
Yeah, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I was just reading a thing the other night that talked about the idea of meditation at a high level. But I wonder, can you have crows? Can you get crows?
I know a guy that can get crows.
I would, because I know a couple people who had a pet crow, and they are like the best friends ever, and they're super intelligent. I just wonder if they'll hang around.
Oh, they'll hang around. Our property, our natural barbed wire is blackberry bushes, and in the Pacific Northwest, they just grow like weeds up here, and they just produce the best blackberries, and it just is great security for the property, and it also draws a lot of birds. Like I'll plant berry bushes, like blueberry bushes and raspberry bushes, just to attract birds because their droppings are such good fertilizer, and it just adds, you know, in the summer, we'll do a stream in the summer and I'll do it outside. You can barely hear. It's just amazing how much
Same here.
Yeah.
Same where I am.
Yeah, it's incredible. And the life is just, and on our property, we also have a ravine with a year-round running stream. Just the life is incredible. That's why I've never had to shoot a coyote. I got a gun for coyotes because they were taunting my goats, and I was very protective. Just defense, you know, unless they're starving, unless there's like no food, they'll just move on. That's why it's all about preparedness. If you just build a strong enough fence, I've had to, except for one weasel, I've had to kill 0 predators. It's just all about fencing.
I'll tell you another thing. See here, the coyotes here, the first time I'm used to San Diego coyotes that always look like they need a meal. They're not that big, and they're skinny, and they're raggedy a lot. The coyotes here look like damn wolves. The first time I saw one, I thought I was looking at a wolf at first, and people unfortunately, where I am, they kill them. But here's what I learned. We had a border collie that we shared with the neighbors. So it had 2 yards. The whole time it lived here, no fox, no coyote ever came into this yard. After she was put down about a year ago, I have now seen the coyotes edging in. My point to you is you already got a ton of animals. You should get a smart dog like an Australian Shepherd or a Border Collie. They're the smartest. No coyote will come near if that dog owns the property.
Yeah, and I think that's what we got going for us is we have, my 3-year-old collects eggs, and we have 4 dogs and all this stuff. We don't have like George is smart-ish. He's a giant dog, but he's not really super trainable. He just likes to run really fast. But we have enough animals just peeing and activity in the yard, and my wife and I are always in the yard. They're totally scavengers. They're opportunists, just like the censorship people. It all ties together. There's the truth in nature is layers. You see it everywhere. Where the coyote is just testing, and if there's enough masculine energy, enough just smell of urine and people not draining their balls, they just keep going. They just go until they find weakness. They go until they find someone who's indulged in enough pornography and fluoride to just eat all their animals,
Well, the coyotes are to nature what women are to men. They're a requirement. Nature's truth is immutable. And it drives me, like there was a guy down the road here who had chickens. Cooper Hawk kept nailing them. And one day I was sitting here and we heard a shotgun go off. And I was thinking, well, that's strange. It's because there is a hunting season here, but mostly it's posted everywhere. So you only hear the guns from a long way off. So I walked down the street. Sure enough, there he was in the field. And I asked him what happened. He told me my 5th chicken just got killed by a Cooper's Hawk. And I said, dude, you can't be blasting a Cooper's Hawk. And I informed him what you said. I said, if you get caught doing that, it'll be your butt.
Oh, yeah.
And I talked to him, about how to protect his chickens, which he actually did. The main thing was you got to give them a place they can get under so that they're just not out all day long. But that unfortunately there's a person down at the end of the road who has blasted these coyotes. They look like wolves. Matter of fact, I'm reasonably sure, having lived out in the wilderness all my life, is that somewhere along the line the coyotes that are here did breed with wolves. They are unbelievably big.
Yeah, there's a name for them. They're called like kine wolves, or it really is. They did breed with wolves. You're absolutely right. But the thing about coyotes that people have to understand is when you shoot one, the female is going to heat immediately, and it can actually raise their population. So that isn't even a real that's not a real viable way to handle coyotes, because if you shoot them, they go into survival mode and just have like a giant litter immediately. It's crazy.
Not only that, you could shoot one that's a female and puppies could be starving to death at home. You don't know what you're doing. And not only that, where I am, turkeys, you can't kill turkeys. Turkeys have like 10 or 12 eggs. The first time I saw it, I thought the mothers shared babies or something. So I researched it and realized the only thing here that keeps the turkeys in check is those big coyotes. So you're screwing, you're messing with things beyond your ken. You think you're just solving your coyote problem, but what you're actually doing is screwing with a system that is so grand and beyond your your ability to understand. You just don't do it.
Oh yeah,
that's like sticking your finger in an electrical box when you don't know what you're doing.
That's why we have 2 acres that are on both sides of this ravine that we never touch. And the only thing we'll do is we'll collect nettles for nettle tea and stuff. But
nice.
But it's very important, especially if you're like homesteading and you have raised bed gardens and all this stuff. That's awesome for birds and animal life and everything. But you got to leave some of it just for where the wild things are, And so we'll hear the coyotes just in there doing their thing, and they don't come to us and we don't go there. And I'm not going to build a giant, amusement park around the river, and they won't come, eat my goats. And we're in a pretty good natural ceasefire.
I wonder if a full-grown horned male goat would hold off. How big are your coyotes there? Are they gnarly or are they normal?
No, I think that they could. I think an unclipped male could definitely take down a coyote. But the thing is we have like 14 females, two neutered males that basically are just like Hollywood celebrities. They just want gold statues and lollipops. And then we have one one breeder goat, and I think he could do some headbutting. But we also have Nigerian dwarves, which have the highest fat content, the best milk, but they're also not super big. Except for Tubi the goat, who's doing quite well. She's big, but our mystical goat that came on the property, she's still here. And it turns out,
are you doing duck eggs too? Do you eat duck eggs? I have yet in my life to eat a duck egg.
Duck eggs are for dog food. It supplements their dog food. It gives them, it's real healthy for dogs. It's good for baking, but right now I'm not eating bread or sugar. I'm trying to kill all my.
You don't fry a duck egg? It's not the same?
It's a little gamey for me, and because we have such good chicken eggs that you can, but it's just not my thing. It's very rich, and it's great for baking, and dogs love them. But the ducks we had are actually they're kind of raised for meat, but we have no need to kill them with the milk and the eggs. We're doing just fine.
You with us, Jason?
Yes, I am.
Say something clever about ducks and goats. No, I'm just messing.
Stay up with it, Jason.
I'm trying to figure something out in OBS that's kind of throwing me off, and I'm waiting for everybody to see if they tell me the signal's jacked again. When I turn my mic on in OBS, everyone's telling me that there's a double signal, even though this is supposed to just be routed directly from my mic. So I've been muting it during the conversation so as not to make it all screwed up.
I'm actually getting a new warning on Skype now that Jason is using a device that could record or broadcast this call.
Oh.
That's the NDI source. That's how I'm routing the Skype directly to OBS. That's the way you have to do it to get it to work right.
So theoretically, they can warn us when the NSA does it.
Technically, they're supposed to warn us for everything by their hokey finokey karmic law stuff.
Yeah, theoretically, they're supposed to be protecting us from that even happening in the first place. So
go
figure.
They warn us just by showing us a shoe in a shoe store. They warn us by when our wives and when our mothers are really exhausted in a hospital, they take their afterbirth, and I guess that means they now own us for life. So, it's all fair.
Well, it's worse than that, because actually what they think has happened, which is provably BS, is that their fictitious laws of corporation have claimed that you are now lost at sea. You're not even alive, Owen. And yet they're doing it with a corporation that has no life. So go figure. It's all kind of black magic-y.
Well, I know, and it's also not true. So they can play their little games all day long. They can play wizards and demons in their little hotel suites. But then when they enter reality, it's just like, no.
Well, here's the problem, though. This is I've been down the same road you're going. It's like this is provably not true. I'm breathing,
Right.
I did this, but here's what it comes down to. Do you use the systems of this world? Do you buy cars? By the way, can you build a car? You ever built a car? Could you build a car from scratch? Probably not, right?
No.
They can. You see where this goes.
Yeah.
It's more like leveraged in. Well, if you like supermarkets and automobiles,
Oh, 100%. No, it's all about dependence. That's why I'm slowly trying to get off it, even though you always have to pay land tax or whatever and I guess, you can go without a driver's license, but it's all about dependence. Hollywood tried to do that with me, where it's like, you like having people want to take your picture in malls, right? And I'm like, not really. I'm 6'8". I actually prefer to blend in. They're always trying to leverage. It's like, you like your money, right? I'm like, you know what? I was making a ton of money, but I was also getting taxed so much that I would end up overspending it, not knowing about the taxes, and end up in an even worse position. So I think I'm good. I'll take the freedom over the lollipops and fancy pants.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to blend in too. I don't know what I'd do if I was a giant. Jason told me the story when you guys met at the convention. He said he walked over to you and then you stood up.
No, it really is.
Yeah, I didn't know you were that tall, and I was like, oh, hey, what's up?
we have a common friend that's 7'8", I think.
Oh, really?
No, we can't be that tall. He can't be that tall.
He's 7 foot something.
But I've learned how to be the gray man. Kyington just brought it up. BB is the gray man, because it's like when you're as tall as me, and when I used to be on TV a lot, you really do figure out how to blend in, because otherwise your life is just terrible. I was in an airport with Kyneton, and he walked right past me and didn't see me, and I just whispered in his ear, "I am the gray man." And then, because it's all about
did they have to
mannerisms.
place you in certain ways for like on camera and all that, just because of your height over the other actors?
Yeah, no, I couldn't be in a scene with most famous. That's why Vince Vaughn liked me so much.
Cruise.
Yeah, like Vince Vaughn liked me so much because he gets it. He's 6'5", 6'6". If I was in a scene with any A-lister, it would look like we were different species. Like, you know, it would just literally look like they could never be the dominant in a scene. Like if Matt Damon and me were in a scene and he was like, I can run a 1.5 miles in 31 degrees without my hands shaking. How do I know that? I think I've been working with the CIA. And if I was just standing there, people would be like, is that giant just going to eat that little fella? it would just break it. All right, so I want to show you guys and everybody else this awesome video that Dave Weiss made where he's talking to a 103-year-old woman. And then I thought that maybe we could all talk about history is a lie agreed upon and how recent some of these lies were. This is a really touching video, but are you guys cool with that?
Yeah, cool.
All right, cool. All right, so this is a new video by Dave Weiss. All right, check it out.
All right, tell me your name.
Ruth Heath,
Ruth, and how old are you today?
102,
102. So you were born in
1918.
1918. And we were just talking, and I asked you what shape the Earth is, and what did you say? What were you taught in school in elementary
I was
school?
taught in school that the Earth was flat.
And then what do you remember when they changed it to a globe?
Well, when they changed it, I remember when they changed it, but I can't remember the date or anything like that.
And did you believe them?
Yes, I did.
You did. Now,
I was young.
right, and we all were told by people that we trust.
That's right.
Where did you go to school? Elementary school.
I went to Spur Glen School in Hamden, Connecticut. I lived on a farm and grew up with all kinds of animals. No electricity. A big white farmhouse.
Amazing.
And we had to walk to school. We didn't have a bus to take us to school. We had to walk to school and walk home through all bad weather. It was, living on the farm was a life of, I can't explain it.
So getting back to the flat Earth, you said that you're religious, that
Yes.
you follow the Bible.
Yes, I do.
And are you aware that the Bible is all about the flat Earth? That God put the Earth on the footstool and separated the waters from the waters, and created the firmament. If you read Genesis, I'm not the Bible guy. I have friends that are so good at it, but there's over 200 verses in the Bible that refer to a flat Earth.
That's right.
And I think there's only one verse that mentions Earth is a circle, but just like this table right here, that table is a circle,
Right.
but it's flat.
That's right.
Right. A circle is different than a sphere. A sphere is the same in every direction.
That's right.
The circle of the Earth. So how does it make you feel to realize that you were right as a kid?
It makes me feel better.
It does make you feel better, right?
Oh, it makes me feel alive.
Oh my God, that is so true. My whole life, I believe,
Yes.
what I was taught.
That's
and then
right.
when I discovered the flat Earth,
I feel better about it.
because we are the center of creation.
That's right.
We are important.
That's right.
We are here.
We are God's children.
Excellent.
Yes.
I will
I believe in God. I trust God. And when all the problems that are happening in this world today,
I'll give you some good news. A lot of the problems that they report on the news aren't even real.
that's right. That's right.
They're just keeping us in fear.
Keeping up. That's right. That's right. That's right. I understand that. I understand. They just say what they want people to know. They don't care about the Bible. They don't care about life. They only care about I, me, myself, and I. It's a different world.
So the globe deception that a lot of people say, and I believe is literally by Satan to hide God and
That's
make
right.
people selfish
That's
and,
right.
and self-centered and not care and think that there's no consequences for their actions.
Right. I pray every night before I go to bed. And one night things weren't happening right. And I sat up in bed and I said, God, where are you? I need you right now. And I'm beginning to wonder, where is God?
God's right above us in the clouds. The heavens are right here. That's all that there is. And there's not infinite space. Did you know, wait, let me ask you a question, just switching topics a little bit, that we never went to the moon, that was all fake?
Is that right?
That's correct.
I saw that all happening.
Yeah, so did I, and we all believed it, but that was just to reinforce that people to believe they can live on a ball and they could walk on a ball. Nobody's ever been to space because space doesn't exist. There is no space. There's just this world.
Oh, it's such a lie.
It's such a lie, but knowing the lie is like going to a magic show.
I woke up.
Yes, that's what we call it. We call it red. This is your moment of waking up. It's when you go to see a magician and you know how the tricks are done, and the magic no longer works on you, and you're free from the illusion. So knowing this is going to free your heart.
Cry.
Yeah, that's okay.
It makes me cry.
Happiness.
Yes.
Tears of
yes,
joy.
Yes. Yes. I know that we were true, and they're hiding us.
Yes, it's good though.
It's good.
It's very good.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
I'm awake.
Yes.
I'm awake.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to end this video now, and I will try to give you some more information. Can you read? Are you able to read?
Isn't that, you can watch the rest of it at DITRH down in the rabbit hole. It's Dave Weiss. What a beautiful, heartwarming video. Imagine being a woman born in 1918, white farmhouse, no electricity, taught the world is flat. That was known. Like, not that I call it realm Earth. I can't define it really, but we know what it is not. And then just to watch the entire unfolding of the lie happen in her 100-year lifetime. So I wanted to talk to the guys a little bit about, the rewriting of history and what you guys think about that video.
It's criminal what's been done to her, what's been done to all of us. But it goes to show you, David Weiss doesn't mess around. He has a way of getting right down to the brass tacks, which he does again in this clip, and it draws a damn powerful picture. And what he's shown you is a version of the barn wall from Animal Farm. In the book Animal Farm, the animals can't remember if those are the laws that have always been on the barn wall because they can't remember 4 years ago, and someone has changed it. So they finally decide, nope, those are the laws that have always been there, but those are new laws. That's exactly what's going on here. What Dave just illustrated is not how short a time ago it was, but that it happened so much sooner than most of us would imagine. But the truth is, when my generation is gone, there's going to be 2 whole generations of human beings here that never knew a time of analog. They've only known the digital time. And so the value of what that lady could tell any of us is what the value of someone like me can tell the generations behind. And it's so critical because shit, that lady deserved better.
Yeah. It's, what do you think? I don't even know how to begin with that. Like that was a very, and by the way, Dave is in the chat. He said to play the end. He said the end's the best part. So let me just finish the clip, and then we'll continue talking. But it's just a beautiful moment, because that's what I always tell my mom. My mom's been through hell in her life, and the fact that woman can feel it, though, means she's still alive. Where the real demons, the real parasites in this world, the real liars, the real Satanists, they don't even feel it. All they do is operate based on their bad gut biomes. You know, like they don't even know to be sad. They don't even know to cry tears of joy. They don't even know they've been duped. They don't even want to know the truth. They're just gone. They're just operating on this very low, very primitive vibration of just feeding their gut worms. All right, let me just finish this off. It's 2 more minutes.
No.
You're not able to read. Are you able? You're able to listen to things?
Well, I have to use up here
Okay.
because I'm legally blind.
I got it. All right. So you can't see how good looking I am?
No.
You just have to trust my opinion. This is the perfect woman for me. She can't see me. All right. Thank you so much.
That's my pleasure.
All right.
It's my pleasure to know that it's true.
It is absolutely true.
Oh, it's
But
amazing.
here's the thing: if you tell other people that aren't awake, they'll think you're crazy.
That's right. That's right.
That's their problem.
No, I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah. So good, right? I'm glad we met.
I'm so happy.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. It's right.
All right, I'm gonna. This is what I did. I was visiting my mother, and I asked who the oldest, most lucid person was, and they introduced me to Ruth. Ruth, right?
Yes.
And I encourage anyone else that has access to an old age home to do the same, because there's not many people like Ruth left that remember these things. We also talked about the World's Fair that she attended, and she said that the lights were the most amazing part.
Most amazing thing.
Yeah.
I never got over that. I never, all my life, it's right there. The lights were so bright. And living in the darkness for so many years as a child, all of a sudden the world opened up.
Amazing. All right, Ruth, thank you.
Thank you. I'm amazed. I'm so happy to know it's true.
It's true, and God created this world.
Yes.
And He's right here in the clouds above, close, not in an infinite universe. So good, right?
And I can't get over it. Made me cry.
Made me cry too.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Ruth, give me a hug. Here we go.
I need it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
That was the most fascinating part of that whole exchange was I found out Jews cry. So Dave, I'm just joking. I just had to make a joke because that was so powerful.
Someone get that woman a Crow shirt.
Yeah. No, but how? Do you think that's why they opened up old folks' homes, to keep the information away from generations?
Well, that's another perversion of our society. My father died in 2005. I dropped everything I had going in San Diego. I went broke. I lost every penny I had to come take care of him. So he died in his own bed. And now I'm here in Rhode Island again. It's a perversion to let your parents go to to warehouse them. You know, my first job, my father was a college professor. He was a PhD. And when I dropped out of high school, that now that I look back, it's like one of the worst things I could have done from his point of view. And my first job was in an old folks home. And now when I look back at it, I think he was kind of like showing me, go get an education, or this is the kind of job you'll have. But I learned that was the first time that I saw death up close regularly. And I learned what a crime it was, how those people were warehoused just to go in there and die. So yeah, it's a perversion from my point of view, what we do in the West with our old people. And by the way, there are still cultures in this world that respect the wisdom, like Dave Weiss just found in that lady.
Dave's amazing. He's an amazing man.
He doesn't mess around. He's very good at getting down to it.
Yeah, and
by the way, that contributed to our dehumanizing the concept that it's okay to just shove your old people away in a building and let them being taken care of by strangers as their minds are starting to slip away, as opposed to taking care of them like we always did forever, really.
If you
It's dehumanizing. It's what they've been doing to us. It's almost like the transhumanism thing with the technology. It's dehumanizing us.
But they make
if you
us
respected a person, you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, but they make us take the ticket, and I think one way it's trained is that's what we do. Not we. That's what a lot of society does to our children. And then the children, when the children are vulnerable and the children are growing and the children need assistance, the parents will put them away in a boarding home for the rich or child protective services for the poor, or a variety of in between. And so when the parents get older, the child thinks, well, I guess when you're vulnerable, you go into a little filing cabinet, and eat your pudding. And I think that that's something that older generations are going to be facing with this dehumanization of the children that's currently happening, where people are sending kids to these awful systems where they're learning nonsense and lies, and they're abused and sexualized. And I think that will train them to do the same to the parent when the parent's older.
Since the beginning of human beings, the older generation has carried the wisdom that the younger people needed to have handed them, and this perverse system that we've entered into has broken that chain. In the same way that Dave actually just went in reverse to do what should have been happening the other way, that woman should have been telling all us youngsters what she knew from that time. And what actually had to happen is Dave had to go seek it out, and that underscores the perversion. There's never been a time before the modern era when the older generation didn't carry the wisdom.
Well, there may have been. They just all died out and never told. We don't even know they existed because they made so many mistakes. What do you think happened with the World's Fair? Because they said that 18 or 20 million people went to San Francisco back when it would be almost impossible to get there in that number. What do you guys think about the World Fair? I've tried to look into it with the architecture and with the Tesla electricity and all this stuff. What happened there? You guys know more about this stuff than me.
It's the old Hermetic idea. There's so much about Hermetics which is valuable to us, and then there's so much of it which goes off the rails. Part of it is that the ingenuity of man can make man a god. Which becomes self-obsessive. And so when you turn on the lights for the first time, which happened at a World Fair, all of a sudden night doesn't mean what it meant for the entire existence of human beings. The only light we had was a campfire, some form of a candle, and all of a sudden that all changed. And the people who had it, it's what I asked you earlier, can you make a car? No, you can't. Someone in this world can make a car, and that they were showing we are this powerful now, and we're going to exert this much power because we are becoming the gods of Olympus. It's that kind of idea. The Eiffel Tower, as a matter of fact, there's a whole book, I wish I could remember the name. It's about the World's Fair in Chicago when the lights were going to come on for the first time, and it's covering a supposed murder that happened there. Fear porn, even all the way back there, this bizarre killer.
Oh, the devil! The Devil in the White City. I read that book.
There it is. So you know what I'm talking about. So that fear porn that comes at 6:00 news every night, now all day long, across some form of medium. That's what that story's showing you. That not only had the power of man become so beguiling that he was going to put a sun in the sky at night for all intents and purposes. They were also showing you the underbelly of man with their fake murder nonsense.
Wow. Yeah. So you think it was just then they took back a lot of the technology, whether it be the architecture, which I've been looking into some of these giant stone things, whether or not it's like geopolymers or how they made it, because with the ropes and the pictures they had and just horses and trains, I wouldn't even know how they'd make it now, 100 years later. And the same with a lot of these electric technologies. I wouldn't even know how they did it now. It's almost like they played a little peekaboo game where it's like maybe it's that revealing of the hand thing that the Masons believe in, but they show everybody what could happen and then they pull it all back and we go into another depression and World War and.
I think it's pretty clear that if it's a powerful enough technology and it doesn't lend to control of society, then it doesn't come out. What comes out is, well, it's useful to get the lights on for everyone so we can work them till midnight. You know, these kinds of ideas. Not only that, we can make them pay for the privilege of having the lights on till midnight. But the Tesla type ideas, which would not be so readily controllable, people would take control of that. That's what gets hidden. But at the bottom of the deck is all the super powerful technologies. Like, how many people are aware that the Eiffel Tower can be weaponized?
I didn't know that.
How many people are aware that 5G, from the research that I've done, from my point of view, I am almost certain at this point that cell technology and 5G in particular is screwing with the ether, the fifth element. If you look at even the latest Marvel movies, like there's one scene where Hulk is thrown back down to Doctor Strange's place. There's a shot over New York City with One World Center, and you can see the big antenna, the spire on top. But in that shot for 5 frames, they're showing you the next building that lines up with it, with a big spire. It's all technology we've been told nothing about, and it's weaponizable, and it's all designed to control us. But at this point, I am convinced that the whole cell system is screwing with the idea of the fifth element, the ether, which each of us needs to become higher human beings.
You got to think about how much they're pumping out through the airwaves 24/7 these days that didn't exist just a few years ago.
Well, yeah, I'm convinced now that I realize that they have no compassion for humans whatsoever, that was the fake lead paint scare was to get rid of lead in paint, because I think that probably offered some sort of protection to homeowners.
Right. Well, how many babies are actually eating the paint off the wall? If you listen to the news, you'd think every kid in every building was licking the lead paint or something.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's the old stupid Roman thing. Well, part of the reason the Romans died is because they were using an element called plumb bum. You know, that's why they call it plumbing. They were too stupid to understand if you make pipes out of lead, it'll kill you. No, I'm sorry. I've seen the Parthenon. I've seen the things they built. They knew damn well that you didn't drink lead. You know, it's just more of this nonsense that gets pushed out.
Total nonsense. What does the Eiffel Tower do? I never knew that it could be weaponized.
It's a big, basically, antenna anytime they want it to be.
Whoa.
Look at the big, what's the eye called there, Jason, in London? The Ferris wheel eye, what's that
it's
called?
Just the Eye of London.
The Eye of London, that is also an antenna.
Yeah, I think all Ferris wheels seem pretty secret society to me.
Wait, here's the thing. You read that story, then you know that Ferris is tied to the World's Fair. See, Ferris made his first whale, I believe, right around the Chicago's World Fair or something. Those are all antennas. Those are all broadcast mechanisms.
Wow. So what's the best thing people can do to survive in this era of these secretive, bizarre... Because I get the feeling that some of these dragons have lost their head and they're flailing, because the control of minds, a lot of it is celebrity worship and a lot of it is through media, and that's falling. And the love of money is also falling, because people are starting to see that it isn't fair, that that these companies are not operating on profits and losses. And that awakening and to see how much quote unquote science has lied to us is detaching us from their control mentally, where I'm starting to, I have this feeling, this gut, and I trust my gut. I've drank enough turpentine in my life to trust my gut. That they're not doing as well as they did when I was younger. When I was younger, it was so much easier to sell lies to me than now. And I see that with
That's because we were waking up. That's why. Since about 2000, what can people do? Simple. Just look at what Dave Weiss just did. Take off your damn diapers, quit being a scared little kid in a closet that's worried that some magical coronavirus is going to come kill you and your family, and be a damn adult. And right. I'll tell you another thing. Dave Weiss recently sent me a package with hot sauce. You know what was stamped to the outside of that envelope that every worker that touched it saw? The earth is flat.
Yeah.
He put a sticker on it, and I was laughing my ass off because I was trying to imagine how many people saw that. So when we started this stream, I said, hey, all you bears, please go over to Crrow's D Live and sub it. You know why? Because each of you can be that sticker, but so much more because you're a human being. If we say something that matters, you can put that out and you can tell people, like Dave just told a person over 100 years old, we didn't go to the moon, and she started crying.
Yeah, because she always knew we didn't, and she just, but no one would validate it. It's so fascinating.
Common sense came flooding back in, and she believes in God, and what she was taught as a child came back and was validated. She didn't deserve that, but it's us. You know what justice is? It's just us.
Wow, I love it.
If we don't stand the F up, and I don't use F's very often, folks, and do something, you're gonna get steamrolled. But I think Owen's right. They are scared right now. A lot of us have woken up. But when you quit falling for the coronavirus and when you start valuing fellow human beings, this whole charade starts falling apart. It's a house of cards. And if we all blow hard enough, it'll fall the hell down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's so few of them doing it. And good news that I'm hearing on the law enforcement front, because I know people in a lot of different alphabet agencies in different areas. You know, the corruption up top is obvious, but a lot of these guys are guys you just bowl with who wanted to do a good job. And they're saying that a lot of them are starting to get the feeling that they're not going to get pensions. And so if you have one of the biggest problems for warlords is paying their warriors. That's ancient. So it's like if these international bankers don't have their flying monkeys out of Wizard of Oz to do their business, what do they have? All they have is the veils, the deception. And if the deception is going away, and a lot of these police officers are like, I don't want my son to be told he's a girl, he's 7, you know. And then on the other side, when you got the sticks and the carrots, the other side is they're like, we can't even afford to live in the cities that we're working in. You know, a lot of Homeland Security have to fly into San Fran, fly into San Diego, because they can't even afford to live in the cities they're in. And this is growing resentment. It's growing resentment towards the controllers, and it's growing a sense of community between these men, which I find very, very hopeful. Because, you know, the whole boot kicking in your door programming that we've gotten from Hollywood, that we're always about to be disarmed and taken to a gulag. No, that's not the threat. The threat is lies to ourselves, fear to ourselves, and not admitting what is true that we see all around us, you know?
And by the way, everybody listening, go look up the DICT Act, D-I-C-T. It is hard, fast law that says your right to bear arms cannot ever, for any reason, be dismantled. The DICT Act, while we're at it. But these are important ideas. What it comes down to is, are we going to grow up? We've been children since the 60s. We got the living bejesus drugged out of us. Then we got TV. Then we got lied to. Then we lost our common sense, and now we're here. My generation has more responsibility for what's gone on here than any other generation in history. If you were old enough to smoke dope as a hippie in the 60s, then the responsibility is on your butt. On your watch, this has come to be a serious matter. And so if you can look out for your fellow human being, if you can quit being afraid of the nonsense the news puts out, this starts to fall apart. But more than anything, you got to be like Dave Weiss, man. There is never a time when that guy isn't trying to undo the damage. Even when he sends me a letter, on the letter it says the earth is flat. I almost fell down laughing so hard because I said, that's so David Weiss. And then I thought, what if all of us did this? If all of us did that, this game would come apart at the seams.
Yeah, and have a community, just like my friends Crow and Jason here. They're coming on to D Live, and I'm honored to send my audience to also subscribe to them, because this false scarcity is nonsense. They make us think that we're rats and there's only a little amount of cheese. It's like Crow and Jason's success is also our success, because it's more people adding to the diversity of thought in this world that we desperately need. And you want to see your fellow man succeed, because there is no shortage. Like, as someone who lives on land for food, 5 acres can feed 300 people easily. And so they're trying to make everybody feel like if someone else gets something or is built up, it's your loss. And that's factually incorrect. I listen to a lot of black conspiracy channels, and if you listen to those guys, it will wash away a lot of resentment towards the black community, because a lot of these guys are talking about how it's their job to be strong fathers. It's not the Caucasian Americans' job to approve them and give them handouts, that them as black men need to rise above the programming. And like, I'm at home just like, yes, this guy's crushing. And when you realize that the fractal divisions of our society are intended so the slaves fight each other because there's not a lot of cheese, and there's plenty of cheese. And so that's why I recommend people follow Crow, 2Rs, 777 Radio on D Live. Support each other. When people speak out, when people give you gravy, when people say things that just are thought-provoking, that you don't even have to agree with, that just are thought-provoking, all you have to do, just subscribe and support, spread it. And it's not going to be spread on the media. Why would the media, it's almost like a bunch of bank robbers. Why would they rat on themselves? Why would one of them go to the cops? The media will never tell you about the awakenings. The media won't tell you how to get around this stuff, how to cleanse your own gut, how to research what really happened in history. So support each other, you know?
It's a fact. What happens within this community happens to all of us in a way. We should almost officially acknowledge that everyone here right now is entering into a coalition of common sense. That's what this is about. It's not about joining groups. It's about recognizing that we've lost something critically important in this world, and to give it a name, it's mostly common sense.
Yes.
And what Owen just said is true. You will never see an astronaut or someone from NASA interview me. You know why? Because I'll look them dead in the damn eye. And you know why? Because I have got some common sense back. Their spell won't work on me. And so each of us here can share in that, and we can make an actual coalition. And all these other channels of people we haven't met yet, they can find value and start to be part of all this. But at the end of the day, there's an old principle in common law that says if you see a wrong and you do nothing meaningful to stand against it, then you have given your tacit permission for that wrong that you witnessed. That is a common law principle, and each of us has the birthright of common law, though we've lost track of that. My point is when you see a wrong, if you sit there on your damn couch smoking a doob and do nothing about it, you have handed your permission to the people who did it. And that's what Revelation of the Method is about. That Kobe nonsense, within 24 hours, the revelation of method had come with the nonsensical cartoon that showed Kobe being killed before the fact in a helicopter. It was undeniable at that point that you'd been lied to, that person you respected, that you loved. And what it did was it gave your tacit permission, because now you knew a wrong had been done and you did nothing about it. And not only that, it made them look bigger and tougher than they actually are. And at the same time, it demoralized you because you had to face the truth that you're just this puny little ant who can be kicked around like nothing, like you don't even exist. When the truth of it is that you do exist, you do have the ability to say this is nonsense, and if you do, this all starts to change. So,
amen, Crow. That's so true, man. And that's the thing. It's like these freedoms that people want come with responsibility, and it's not. These aren't just like. Because if we keep acting this way, if we keep acting like the 9/11 was 19 people that hated our freedom with box cutters, you're giving up your autonomy. You're basically saying, I'm a child, treat me like a child. You know, my goats have a stronger maternal instinct than some of these women, and the male goats have more responsibility. You know, my male duck, one of them lost his life fighting a weasel for the, granted, yes, he was a rapist, but I'm not judging the duck. And but you know what I'm saying? It's like if you accept lies for an easier life, you're giving up your autonomy. You're saying like just take whatever I have, and my basic thing for what Crow was talking about with I can't remember what word he used with where we come together, a coalition, is are you a liar? You know, because I get shit all the time from churchians and people like that, where it's like, has this person denied the Trinity, or has this person denied the proper word of God? And I'm like, this person tells what they believe to be true, and that's the most valuable thing in a friend and cohort in my life. And it doesn't matter their background until I've identified them as an agenda-driven snake, I have a lot of respect, because together it's like the blind men touching the elephant. You know, the 7 blind men touching the elephant. One says, this is a hard tusk-like object. Another says, no, it's leathery. And another says, no, it's long strings. And then they stab each other to death, versus them coming together and trusting each other as to what their perspectives are, and then coming to the realization that it is in fact an elephant and they don't need to stab each other to death. You know?
Exactly. That's what that parable was designed to show. And that's, you know, what you're pointing out is the judge, jury, and executioner mindset that Hollywood puts in all of us. Every single story you ever see on media is pulling up a dichotomy. You got to choose a side.
Yep.
You got to choose a side. No, to hell with choosing a side. What you got to do is say, is that decent? Is there a human being harmed? Is there common sense in any of this? That's what a human being does, an adult, not I'm going to choose this side. Now you're starting to understand what bread and circus means. Bread and circus is the NFL. Bread and circus is The Bachelor. Oh, who's he going to pick? Who's going to get married? I hope that stupid girl gets, you know. This is the infantile mindset being forced into your brain. And if we don't break free of it, I swear to you, we're going to get a reality that none of us want to be a part of. But at the same time, if we pull together and we do what we know to be correct, and we make a coalition of just simply common sense, this stuff will not fly. Because a common sense person will not stand by and watch somebody be injured or ripped off or lied to. You think Dave Weiss would watch someone lie to that lady he went to meet? You know damn well he wouldn't. You know why? Because Dave Weiss has common sense in his back pocket.
Exactly. And it was like me with the trans kid things in Hollywood. It's like, just like the fact that I would stand up for a 5-year-old I'd never met who was potentially about to be put on hormone blockers. To me, it's mind blowing that others didn't, that they all just stayed quiet as they received their checks, their royalty checks. It's called royalties for a reason in Hollywood. Yeah. We know I now realize where our money was coming from. Royalty checks. Like, I still get royalties for movies I was in. Now they're hilarious. Like when I was on the show Punked, I'll get a royalty these days for like 4 cents because they played it in Sweden or something. But it still says royalty on it, and words have meaning, as Crow says.
It's a fact.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I'll let you go, because do you guys have any? Oh, someone banned Spicoli Bear 2 says Ruth is crushing. So Ruth is doing a great job, everybody. I just want everyone to know that. And then thank you, Big Bear. There's a bunch of messages in here. Does anyone have any specific questions for Crow and Jason before I let them off to do mandolin work and other merriment? Nobody mentions that bears will not abide the beast. No, because the beast loses too. The beast isn't strong. It's like from the Dark is Rising series, an unbelievably good series. The person who helps the evil, the Gamork from the Neverending Story, it's over and over and over again in literature. They get thrown from the high horse whenever the beast is done with them. There's no security. There's no love there. There's no honor amongst thieves. As soon as they don't fit the beast narrative, they're gone. Whether they kill them or embarrass them or humiliate them, they do not love you. So just know that there is no strength in thinking that you're going to be eaten last by the alligator. Look at Hollywood now. Look at Hollywood 5 years ago to now. 5 years ago, people would still watch the Oscars with some envy and some admiration. Now, every Hollywood celebrity in the back of your mind is like, is this dude a pedophile? That's so new. And it's so awesome to see the icons being taken down. Can you ask Crow about the second? I already. Oh, second son. I feel like that's probably a whole conversation. But sure, second son, Crow.
Tell Believer Bear. The book name is Spagyrics by Manfred Junius. Best place to start. The second son is unproven. There's something to it. Old tradition backs up the idea as maybe a source son. All the woodcuts from masonry back up the idea, and people who I know who are initiated into Ayurvedic medicine know. But the truth is, we need to prove more. There's something there. We just can't say for certain what yet.
Someone wants to know what you think about turpentine.
I've never learned it, and I'm not qualified to make a call because I don't have any direct experience, so I'm just not qualified.
Oh, sweet. Can you have Crow elaborate on what he means by human milk? Is he over there drinking breast milk? Question mark.
No, I never drank milk for my whole life because I was adopted. And when I was forced to drink cow milk, I threw up since I was a child. I never understood how people could drink cow milk. But the point is, nature doesn't lie. And right now, I'm reasonably sure that monkeys are drinking monkey milk, beavers are drinking beaver milk, and goats are drinking goat milk. So how in the hell is it that human beings are drinking formula and bovine milk? Just saying.
Yeah, and I as a goat milk owner and someone who did breastfeed for quite a while when I was a child, probably why I'm so tall. Goat milk, I believe, is genetically closer to human milk than cow milk. It is, there's two types of cow milk that the dude on your last stream we're talking about, the A1 and A2. Goat milk never triggers any response when people have lactose intolerance. Goat milk is what they drink. And it's also like unpasteurized raw goat milk is extremely compatible with the human physiology. Just letting everybody know that. To Crow, you said the moon has nothing to do with an eclipse. What does that mean, please?
It means that the Vedics, who are much ancienter culture, told you the truth. It's a thing called nodes. They named the nodes Rahu and Ketu. There are people in the Crrow777radio.com forum constantly working on these ideas. The node can be looked up. Ketu and Rahu are what the Vedics call it, but you've seen it over and over in Hollywood where the dragon eats the moon or the dragon eats the sun. It's just all encoded. The moon plays no role in a solar eclipse. It's nodes. And we are like 99% sure we can prove that. We have proved beyond doubt that the moon plays no role. And some of the engineers in the forum timed it all out and also proved the timing difference in eclipse proves that the moon plays no role in eclipses.
What do you think does the waning and the waxing of the moon? What do you think changes the moon cycle? What do you think? Because that's clearly not the... Yeah.
I'm on the trail of the moon creates its own light and it's not reflecting anything. Beyond that, to make substantial statements, I need to be able to get back behind my scope. I'm trying to get it permanently mounted, but to do that is a cost that I can't pony up. But I'm still working to get my scope permanently mounted. There's stairs in this house, and
we can fundraise, man. I got some cheddar lying around that if we can get you to figure out more stuff about the moon, we can raise some cash. Also, Aku said something cool. Nature doesn't lie, and praise be to the Most High. I love that. And also, someone else asked, this will be the last question. I'll let you guys go. But what's the number one, I won't say number one. What is something people can do in their life to make themselves healthier? You know, moving to a place like where I live requires a lot of time and effort that I know a lot of people don't have. What's something that someone can do in their life as far as nutrition and stuff like that they can do to just be healthier?
Get the fluoride out of everything. Quit using underarm deodorant. Get off all the pharmaceuticals that you can possibly get off and eat fruits and vegetables. Raw is good. That's the basic things people could do, but getting the chemicals from all the products we use to include our water the hell out of your body, you'd be surprised how much brain power you get back when that's out of you.
It's huge. And stop whacking off. Last question. Tides. Any theories?
The moon plays no role in tides. It's provable. You can go back and look at the work people did from the Royal Astronomical Society. One of the cliches we have in the world, it's where reason goes to die. Those words were put together after a man tried to prove that the moon controlled the tides. The best example of possibility for the causing of tides I've come across is in a book called Zetetic Astronomy by a pseudonym Parallax, which is actually just Samuel Robotham. But in that book, he points out that air pressure likely causes tide because when it's down in one part of the world, it's up in another. I like the idea. I haven't proven it out. But the moon, just logic alone, if you want to believe in the gravity nonsense, the sun is massive, according to their description, and the moon isn't even the mass it's supposed to be. It's like 1% of what it should be. So how, in the gravity model of things, it used to be they said the moon did it. Now they've combined it with the sun because too many people started to wake up. Gravity is nonsense. You know why stuff falls? Because it's heavier than the air it's falling through. What damn day did we wake up, Einstein, when we had to describe why the apple fell to the ground? And in what world do we need to make up math so complicated to convince us that the center of this globe we live on is sucking everything down? Anything Einstein said, by the way, should immediately put your feelers up. He said there is no fifth element. He lied. He said there's gravity. He lied. What else did Einstein lie about? And by the way, he wore the same pair of clothes every day. Hint, hint, hint.
Yeah, it was all one photo shoot. Yeah, and he also procreated with his first cousin and then abandoned his baby. He's not exactly a good dude.
Well, you can't have a flipper head trying to be Einstein, can you?
And last question. How long does it take to get fluoride out of the brain? And do you think that you really can decalcify the pineal gland?
Yes, you've been told the human body can't come back from things like lung damage. It's all a lie. Gerson proved it. If your body gets the things it needs, it will be the best medicine in the world. Was it Hippocrates that told us the truth? I think it was Hippocrates who told us, let medicine be thy food and let food be thy medicine. The Gerson method proved that some of the gnarliest diseases we deal with can be beat by your own body just by simply giving it what it needs. Most of what grocery stores and corporatized food are about are ensuring your body has the opposite of what it needs. And I would have loved if Dave Weiss would have asked that lady, how old were people living when you were back in the day? Did you know people that were over 100 back in the day? Because they'd have us believe in the cowboy days you died when you were 45. And I'm just saying, yeah, if you give your body the right living food sources and the right nutrition, sky's the limit on what can be cured. And I think Gerson pretty much proved it. And by the way, they tried to kill Max Gerson when he announced he had the cure for cancer. They poisoned him. And he used his method to stay alive for 1 year, having been mortally poisoned, while his daughter Charlotte picked up everything he knew and got it all together. And she carried the torch until roughly a year ago when she died in her 90s. I met Charlotte Gerson many times.
That's amazing. Yeah, my great-grandparents...
By the way, Wyatt Earp lived all the way into his 80s and helped John Ford. He gave him information when they were shooting whatever the name of the film was for the OK Corral. Told him about the train, everything. So people did not necessarily die a year younger than I am.
Yeah,
right,
no,
everything.
My great-grandparents were poverty. It was full-blown poverty, full-blown, and they all lived to be in their 90s. So... I don't even know how they mess with the numbers. Do they include infant mortality, or are they just straight up lying?
Yeah. Well, what I've noticed from years back when I looked at this is they're factoring in infant death, which did happen a lot, especially when you didn't have sanitation. Yeah. Crap happened. Yeah. So if you factor that in and start averaging out people dying under a year to up to all the way up to 5 years against people living in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, of course it's going to drag the variable down. It's going to drag the average down.
And that's...
Well, look at Google's numbers. Look how they run analytics. What is a hit? What is a subscription? You know, it's the same thing Einstein did. They use complicated math to obscure what's not that complicated so that you get the number they want you to see.
Yeah, and this is why the sky clock is so important, where... You know, when you have babies is very important because what just happened with my goats, and I'm now realizing it, when you live this type of world, you know, what's going on in the sky and what time of year it is and when there should be procreation, all that is literally life and death. Like these little goat babies, if it goes under 50 degrees, they die. So that's why it's called spring chickens and all this stuff, because if these animals have babies in the middle of winter with no heat, their babies die. If they have in the summer, great. And once they build up enough fat, they can survive really, really well in all environments, unlike human beings. But I'm guessing it's probably very similar for people. Back in the day before a lot of heat, if you had children in the middle of January in Michigan, your infant mortality rate would be quite high. And if you had them in June and July, it would be quite low. And I think that's been known forever, and people just refuse to acknowledge it.
I can address that, actually. I was on this research a long time ago. Here's the way I think it went down. There was a time when people didn't just have sex to have babies any old time. It was planned within society because the idea of bringing the divine spark into the world was a special thing. I'm reasonably sure at this point this is how it went. when the sun reached the height of its power at the summer solstice in June, couples would come together to impregnate the female, which means the child would be born at the spring equinox when all the other animals, as Owen just pointed out, was starting to be born.
My son was born on the spring equinox.
Right. So, well, there it is. You did it right. But there's an idea behind this time of equality, even biblically. See, biblically, from the crop's point of view, there's a stern pillar and a forgiving pillar. And so at that equinox, you plant, but your reward comes at the other equinox. See, if you've planted your seed and done your work correctly, there's all this payback at the fall equinox. For the life of a human that's not a plant, it's the opposite. You come into this time of equality and bounty and plenty as a newborn infant when more energy, get this, pay attention, more energy will be released into this world than any other event ever at spring. There will be a release of energy which is incalculable due to new life, all the trees turning green, all the things becoming pregnant and having babies. That's when a human life can ride the wave of that energy and also have good weather and good food. So I'm reasonably sure that's how it was once upon a time, but proven it's not so easy.
I still, my second son was summer, third son will also be summer, but spring is the best because, as Crow just said, this stuff matters. It matters. Yeah, right now you can be born whenever you want, and you have the hospital and the Federal Reserve and all this stuff. But like, if you are in a natural environment, you want to be riding the wave of energy because by August, you want to be able to have your kid be a little fatter, eating more variety of foods. You want your mother to be able to have a high calorie diet so she can give this is life and death. And if people want to get away from the beast, these are things that they have to address. That if you're born in November, you're in for a ride if you don't have all the accoutrements of fiat currency. And so all these people that want to front like I want the dollar to collapse. Oh, the beast is going to fall. I'm like, get your shit straight first. Figure out the sky clock. Figure out where your water's coming from, because if not, if your kids aren't born March, April, May, June, they're going to be in for it. If it's 0 degrees outside and there's just, coughs everywhere and there's not a lot of food and your woman can't get enough milk production, that's death. And so then they'll factor that in with the old stuff. It's like 120, 90, 95, 110 years old, 0, 0, 0, 100, 105, 0, 100. And then they're like, oh, it turns out the average was 40. It's like, you sons of bitches.
Well, it comes to a simple thing. This is part of the fear porn. That guy in the black dress that stands up in front of the pew and acts like he knows something more than everyone else in the room told you that the sun is your enemy and it's evil.
Right.
No, to hell with all that. The sun's what gives light to this world and lets everything grow. Understand it. Understand how you can utilize it to be a better human being. This place was made for you, and that's the light bulb, man. At least it was before the Chicago World Fair.
Oh, same black dress the honorable judge wears, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and if you want to fight against nature and you want to have a sun all night long, have fun with your circadian rhythm, eating a bunch of junk food at 1 a.m. and not getting cancer.
Right. No deodorant, no antiperspirant, none of that crap. Just drink enough water and you won't stink. There's 3 ways the body gets rid of waste: when you defecate, when you urinate, and when you sweat. If you're putting that crap under your armpits, you're blocking one of those methods. And nothing under your armpits is better.
Yeah, and also essential oils if you really, are going out on a date or something. Put some lavender oil on your neck or something, but none of this like aluminum.
Drink half a gallon of water a day to start with, if that works for you. And you'll see that when every time you go to urinate, it is crystal clear, then you're starting to be cleaned out. Then you will realize that, you have a little odor, but it's not what you would describe as body odor. It's not offensive.
No, in fact, it draws women if you're healthy. And that's one of
that's a
fact. And that's one of the reasons that birth control is so bad for women. It makes them scent blind. Where if a woman's on birth control, she can't smell the pheromones of a man and sometimes can end up with a man that she's not physically compatible with because of, if you smell the way you're supposed to smell, a woman, if you're healthy, a woman will find it very attractive. But if you spray yourself with, Dakar Noir, she'll probably just think you're gay.
And Lost in the 80s.
All right, fellas, I'll let you go. I know I can be rambly, but everybody, again, subscribe to Crrow777 Radio here on D Live. Also, their radio, Crrow777radio.com. Make sure you put the radio in there. The other guy's a gamma male attempting to mess with Crow. And, still subscribe to his YouTube. Make sure you guys comment, hit the Rogans up. Because, the censorship people, the beast is a coward. And the more support you show your fellow man, the less they can get away with. It's an abusive boyfriend. If you have a girl with a strong dad and brother, he's less likely to, tell her that she's horrible and a nobody and beat her up because that's his ass. So support each other.
We're building a coalition of common sense. That's a pretty simple thing. And if enough people see the value in it, then it's not like we have to ask for it to work. If you see a thing that you agree with, then you propagate that thing. That's the idea here. It shouldn't be that there's a leader telling you to do things. It should be that, hey, man, that makes sense. I can get behind that. So I'll tell somebody about it. That's how we come out on top here, I think.
Exactly, because the leader thing is idolatry. It ends up being like, well, what he says is wrong, but, I just love him so much. That's the problem with Hollywood. I just got out of all that. Trust me, guys, don't go down that road. Go down the road where people have value and you learn from them and you respect them. You respect their craft, their persistence, but don't become like a fanboy of dudes because then you just end up, standing up for somebody that potentially is doing horrible things, All right, fellas.
Hey, thanks for having us on. Jason, anything to add before we go do what we're going to do?
Great time, Owen.
Oh,
glad we got to do this. And if we want to dual stream here, I'm always down for that. Just let me know.
Yeah, we should do this more often. I in the chat.
Let's do it. Let's do it again whenever the heck we want. When I'm a little more caught up on my mandolin. Well, I don't know if piano and mandolin is the best match. Oh, by the way, I was born on Beethoven's birthday. I saw you doing Beethoven proud, rightly.
Nice.
I'm with you all day long, man. I'm not with the fancy pants minuets either.
Yeah, unless you're doing some dark, unless you're ranting about the moon with music, I want nothing to do with Mozart and his fancy pants.
Without the fifth, there was no smoke on the water. Anyhow, all you bears, thanks so much for following. Owen, we'll catch up soon. We'll do this again.
All right, later, Crow. Peace.
Sure.
Later, Jason.
Take care.
All right, guys. Let me make sure that I end it properly. That was a blast. How great are those guys, huh? 3 times a week, please. We'll do it a lot. Piano and mandolin works just fine. Yeah, I'm also tuning my piano to 432 soon. That's a wise perspective. Mandolin and piano are perfect together. We should jam. Crow and Jason, amazing. BB crushes Beethoven. Yeah, it's a great show. All right, I'm going to read some letters and then we'll call it a day. I was extremely addicted to smoking weed, but quit bread and sugar is 10 times harder. Yeah, but do it. Do it. Don't be a pussy. All right. Great stream. Thank you, everybody. You guys, thanks. I know I did members only chat, but it makes it way better, especially when dealing with real gravy. Because these are the type of gravy situations that can make weak men spiral. So I'm glad it was just the strong here today. All right, let me read some of these letters. Owen! Oh, this is not for the stream. Got it. Thanks for writing that in the beginning. Sometimes there'll be letters it'll be like a long letter, and at the very end it's like, not for stream. I'm like, okay, well, I just read it on the stream. I'll never say your names or anything, but if you don't want something read on the stream, first line. Thank you for the gravel for my babble. I appreciate that. Hi, Owen and family. I'm writing to you again to let you know you're always crushing. The more you crush the idols, the more I love it. Bring them all down, baby. Crush, crush, crush. I even liked it when you destroyed my favorite franchise, Indiana Jones. Pedophile. I had a clone of his hat even. I was always confused by and found that scene strange, but never knew why. Thanks for the clarification. Destroy them all, Owen. Yes. I will gleefully destroy all the idols. with pride. Oh, think about I didn't watch any of the Oscars, but I was listening to Pockets of the Future sum it up. He's a good mediary between awful pop culture and common sense. And it's interesting how ugly vanity is. You ever think about that? Like these vain Joaquin Phoenix people, like how vain they are. They're so ugly when they're vain. Vanity is actually ugly. Interesting paradox. Also, I'm going to offer up my video and audio expertise to you. I literally started doing audio mixing when I was 10 in San Francisco. I was in commercials and promo videos and corpo training vids. My entire life, my father was a national news and commercial producing wizard master. Yeah, like my dad. He was like your father, only on the production side. Your dad was obviously the training side. Yep, he was a wizard trainer. He destroyed my family pretty bad and has never taken responsibility for a single thing. Yep, just like my dad. My mom and I talk about it. He cheated on her with a really ugly woman, which I find kind of funny. My mom is way better looking than her. She's my stepmother now. Yeah, classic wizard spiral. Anyways, I worked in the national media for years and years and was dumbfounded by the scripting and other associated BS, so I left the high-paying job for a more down-to-earth job in Reno. I know lighting, video, audio, and can do it at the highest level quality there is. I don't do it anymore, but still enjoy the process. I want to help you totally for free. Seriously, no BS. I am also Army veteran, 10th Mountain Division of the Afghanistan War. I fell hook, line, sinker for 9/11. We all did. Don't worry about it. Except for like 8 guys. I thought it was weird because I made a lot of Afghan friends and I always found them to be the nicest people. Seriously. Except the gay, yeah, I was just about to say, except the gay Afghans, there were a lot of. Yeah, there's a lot of terrible Afghanis, but there's also some real based ones, just like everywhere. But the gay ones in the caves, ugh. I've been a fan for well over a year, since before Chowder. I promise you, dude, I will never, ever go anywhere. I wrote you a year ago, and my handwriting probably made me look like a crazy person, so I decided to type this time. Get in touch with Coddington Bear. Coddington, are you here? What's the best place for people to get in touch with you who want to do stuff like this? Because I can't possibly organize any of that. Oh, how dare you? Why can't you just take my help? I'm not doing an impression of this guy, by the way, just Gammas. My role is to talk for 2 hours a day about interesting, funny stuff with gravy. That's enough. And then I have to run a homestead and be a dad. So if people want to help out, Coddington Bear is the wind beneath my wings. Depending on how you think bird's flight actually happens. Where's Coddington? Coddington, what's the best place for people to email you if they want to offer services to the Bears? DM on IG or email me. Is it what email have you been using? I will just, so on Instagram, he's at Owen Comedy. And his unbearablecomedy@gmail.com. Email Coddington Bear. Or get in touch with him if you have sketches you made or you want to offer any services or anything. He's the guy. If you write to me, you will not get a response. And I hope that doesn't anger you. It shouldn't. But there's just no possible way I can do that and do everything else that the good Lord has asked of me. That sweet, sweet boy better be around. Yeah, he's around. This is what he does. And I pay him in lemons now. And he didn't even ask for it. But it's a win-win. All right. I went to Christian school for 5 grades growing up. But yeah, like the fact that Coddington's been loyal to me for no reason other than just to be the man for so long, that like how we've built together has been really, really awesome. And now it's not just like, because I feel uncomfortable just having people do shit for me all the time if I don't either give them something or help their careers or something. And he never cared, but now I just give him a piece of the lemons because I don't really know what the fuck lemons are anyway. Coddington Bear, or Owen, my sweet, sweet email is whydidn'ttheylaugh@gmail.com. Kung Fu Bear sends me gravy, which I ladle. But the odds of me responding, like someone just sent me this. Want to see something crazy? Remember the Big Lebowski? Want to talk about pre-programming? Check this out on Big Lebowski. When Big Lebowski writes out his check for milk, 9/11. And, you know, these are things that we can ponder and wonder what the fuck that means. Whether or not they reshot it later and spliced it in, whether or not it's God winking at us, whether or not it's some weird, I don't know. You know, Quantum of Conscience, who I have a lot of respect for, has a theory that there's something called, like there's a ripple effect backwards from these giant events. I don't believe that because I've never seen that in nature. So I don't, to me, that's just I wouldn't even know how that works at all. So I can't believe that. But, yeah, September 11th, Big Lebowski. Lebowski has tons of it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but a bear just sent me this last night. He was just watching the movie and he was like, it's just crazy. I've known about that for 15 years. Nice yurt man bear. Well, I didn't. So why don't you just go back into your yurt and shut the fuck up? I'm just joking. All right. I went to Christian school for 5 grades growing up, but was always so confused about it because science. You have clarified so much. I'm forever grateful. I want absolutely nothing more than to help and to give back. I'm subscribed to DLive and unauthorized.tv, but don't watch on unauthorized to help the streaming cost for you. Never worry about that. We're handling that by March. It won't even be an issue. Thank you all for sticking with us, and we will also backlog the entire catalog again. But if you subscribe to unauthorized, watch wherever the fuck you want. That's the whole point. Don't worry about that at all. And yeah, dude, someone commented on, let me just read this comment. It was pretty funny. And the Gammas just, they don't understand people that are actually passionate about something. You know, people always call me a scam artist. Oh my God, he's scamming everybody. So this is Life and Death at Ursa Manor at Bear Cave Clips. I love this comment because it's so true. I didn't even think about it. Yeah, it's loading right now, and then I'll finish the letter, and then I'll read some more letters. How much have I done here today? 156. Is that right? Why won't you load? Let's keep reading. Thanks for always crushing, Owen. Your streams really mean a lot to us bears. I really want to help you and COD make skits. Just let me know if you would like my help. We'll just keep you backburnered in case we need you for something, if it's convenient for everybody. But again, I just like that you're here. You know, I don't know when skits would come, but I can't. This thing won't load the comments, but that's fine. YouTube is spiraling. Basically, it said, it goes to show that this dude isn't doing this for money when you can get more content for free on YouTube than at unauthorized. Like, I'm not withholding anything. And everyone knows that isn't retarded. Podbean is great for BB streams too. Yeah. There's a lot of, any place that you can find it, any place that's convenient for you. We're completely sponsored and paid for by you guys only. There is zero network, zero backing, zero sponsors, never, ever, ever. So join unauthorized.tv, buy some at unbearablesmerchandise.com, or you could send me support directly at P.O. Box 727, Gig Harbor, Washington, 98335. Yeah, this isn't loading, but who cares? That's basically the sentiment, was just like, yeah, I don't think this is how scams work. All right. Please put the one you'd like for me to use for skits and Bravo tier gravy. Yeah, Kung Fu Bear, if you want to do skits, I mean, Kung Fu Bear has a bit of a resume. Yeah, I'd love it, dude. Kung Fu Bear is a bit of a legend, just to let you guys know. All right. I have worked with loads of celebrities at their own houses and never give up my info. Only time I ever got starstruck was when I had a 20-minute conversation with James Hetfield at Kirk Hammett. I mainly work with sports stars who I can hardly name. Actually, I can't really name any active ones. I keep you and your family in my prayers. God bless you, Gravedigger Bear. Thank you, Gravedigger Bear. Love it. All right. All right, sweet. One second. All right. Let's open up some more. Any idea when you'll restock Unbearable Store? I don't know. I leave that up to Ryan. I had Ryan over last night. Like, Ryan was over, and one of my buddies who's a longshoreman. And to see a longshoreman and a truck driver just talking about work shit, I just was sitting there like, these two guys, like, these two jobs could shut down the entire American economy. Like, one of my buddies is a high-ranking longshoreman. His whole family's been longshoremen forever. So they're the docks. You know, they bring in all that shit. And then the truck drivers bring it to Walmart. You like, just having a longshoreman and a truck driver and their families over last night, I just was like, these two guys could make it so Joaquin Phoenix doesn't get any more soy. That's why they had to, like, feminize and break down the camaraderie and all this shit, because they have so much power. So people don't realize the amount of power in the blue-collar jobs. And in some of these unions, not truck driving, but some of the longshoremen, like, unions, you can make some serious dough, too. I got starstruck looking in the mirror. I am what stars are made of. Easy, Burn Bear. All right, Owen, I've decided to write you to share the works of A.A. something, pronounced like Hamabe something. This is the most banned man of all time, the only man to cure ALS successfully, and had a 97.8% success rate curing cancer among his patients. Even if you don't adapt his diet, I ask you to please look at his theories on disease, viruses, and bacteria. It is mind-blowing gravy. He was an autistic savant that saved many lives until his recent death. His book, We Want to Live, is truly profound on nutrition and disease. Here's a secret, something with all of his work. So AAJONUS.online. Sweet. Sincerely, 145 IQ, 6'3" fan. Wes. Thank you, Wes. That's awesome. I'm all about the nutrition gravy. That's my new focus lately. You know, NASA gets a little gay. I'm like, yeah, they're liars. So lately it's been all about gut parasites and the rewriting of history. Let's really find out who this Adolfo Hitlerio really was. Don't worry. Thank you. All right. Owen. Sorry for the chicken scratch. Here's some Grabble for your babble. A pleasure to support truly good people. It'd be awesome if you attempted Wu-Tang's Gravel Pit on the piano stream. If not, that's cool too, because there probably is some fucked up underlying message. I just like the musical side of it. Hope the baby goats are doing great. Most importantly, in this handwritten message, I've transferred as much strength, positivity, prosperity, health, and any other positive energy to be received by Amy, the boys, and you. Nothing but love, homie, Dimitri, a.k.a. glow in the dark because of Chernobyl. Thank you, Dimitri. I appreciate you, buddy. I know you glow in the dark, my friend. You glow in the dark. All right. I appreciate the gravel, my friend. Adorable couple. It's time for you guys to breed. Time for you guys to breed. Dear Big Bear, I started watching your streams after I saw you on Crowder. I don't watch them anymore, though, for obvious reasons. And since then, I've been enjoying your comedy and gravy. It's good to get entertainment and truth from a guy who lives his faith and who loves his faith and family. I am 20 now and have been really loving the sight of all the bullshit I was taught in school go up in smoke. For years, I sat in these classrooms all stressed out and depressed, and even after school, I fell into the trap of atheism. I had many times when I'd wonder why I was living. Why not just jump in front of a car? So sad that they just do this to people's heads. It's retarded. I would watch. That's why when people are like, "Aren't you scared to speak the truth?" You know, people will come for you. If you don't, you come for yourself. The most vulnerable and most dangerous position you can be in is when you go down the atheist grabble lie, because you will want to kill your own self. It saves money on hitmen when you're your own hitman, from alcohol, drugs, suicide, obesity, depression, anxiety, all the shit that comes from it. It's like, do people not realize what kills them? Anyway, I would watch Ben Smallhat and Steven Ranger Panties bitch about politics, and I wondered if it was even worth living in a world that was so screwed up. Yeah, those right-wing people are not your buddies, guys. They feed off your stress. Feed. Ugh. But then I was introduced to your streams. First off, I want to thank you for what you do. To be honest, it's not that extraordinary. Thank you. It isn't. But that's why it's great. Bingo. You just show people that they can all do what you do. Crush, love your family, and follow God. Yes. Your streams really gave me the kick in the ass I needed. I've since changed my outlook on life. I've been going to church every weekend, crushing at work, quit porn, and got a beautiful girlfriend. Also, I've already got the ring stashed away. Time to breed. Time to breed. I plan on popping the question sometime soon. And it's not because you're both attractive white people. But it doesn't hurt the cause. She is great. She gets it. We love watching your streams. She especially likes when you talk about homesteading and your family. It's been great having her around. She's helped me grow in faith for the future. It's very bright. She agreed to having at least 4 children after we marry. I want 7, but she said, no way, I'm pushing 7 kids out of there. It's however many the good Lord gives you, my friend. But you know when to do it. You want them to be born right around the spring equinox. Oh, that's paganism. No. I hope she changes her mind. I would love a little army of course she'll change her fucking, it's as many as you guys could get. I would love a little army of boys to carry on the family name. Been working hard and saving money. I currently trying to save for a house and land to start the homestead. I plan to put a big down payment on one when I find it. We want to get off the grid as quickly as possible, and we figured the best way to do that is to work really hard now. That way we can pay our house off faster and not have the payment hanging over our heads till we're old. Great, love it. She also wants to stay at home with the kids. We'll have 150. So she's been working hard to accomplish this goal as well. We've got big plans that include gardens, goats, and chickens. We're pretty excited for whatever comes our way. I may not agree with all your views, but that's why I like you. Yes, that's a given. You just say what you think. Keep up the good work. Also, just know that what you do helps people. I'm sending prayers your way. I'll be sending one up for your family as well. And congrats on number 3. Jake. Might be verified as Patchy Bear. Welcome, Patchy Bear. Because I can't grow facial hair for shit. I get it. I didn't used to be able to grow facial hair until I stopped whacking off. I see you, Patchy Bear. I see you. Quit porn? Yeah, now it's time to quit all whacking. Now it's time to quit the whole thing. Do not drain those balls. 3 cubs is the best I can do. It's whatever you have. The thing is, you don't control it. You can have 0 or 10. It's whatever the good Lord blesses you with. And if you have 0, support your buddies, support your community, do whatever you can. It's just, it's what you are. It's not bad to have 0 kids. It's bad to abort your kids, or it's bad to take hormones so that you sterilize your womb. Whatever your lot in life is what it is. Sunday, February 2020, Ashburton, New Zealand. Yellow, Big Bear. So it took me a while to write. Life is full of shit, as you know. So needed to say thanks for a while now. Also included some biscuit money to feed the bears. Thank you very much. Started following you with your Seinfeld stream. Was pleasantly shocked and been a follower ever since. So been through the desert and will probably have drought again. We are of this world after all. Life is pluses and minuses, the same for all of us. So we are all brother bears. So my input. I used to deliver cargo at Christchurch Airport about 2 years ago. Ran for the farmland since. So Christchurch, they have the bullshit Antarctic Center, a PSYOP, also the American Air Force Base, complete with uniformed guards. The story is the USAF base is for the USA's interest in Antarctica. No news there. But I saw big black cargo planes like C-130s, exactly what Ollie said, leave for Antarctica every day, sometimes twice to 3 times a day. No markings, no lettering, no flags, just black and incognito. Now, from my Army experience, those planes carrying a shitload of cargo, to refill Scott Base, I'd say once a week would be adequate. Food, petrol, gas, mail. 2 or 3 flights a day doesn't make sense. Oh, it does if you kind of have another hunch. So there is some shit going down there. See, aren't the Bears amazing? This is why they tried to take out my YouTube and all my social media. It's because we're stronger together, guys. We can compare notes of how the world works, right? Our New Zealand Bears are like, "Hello, mate. I've been seeing this fucking plane going to Antarctica all day." Benjamin, stop it. Thought I'd throw in my bit of intel so we can build this puzzle. Dude, that's where it's at. It's about building the puzzle. That's why people want to be like, oh, I can't be friends with a Muslim. I can't be friends with an atheist. Or I can't be. No, you can't be friends with a liar or someone who's immoral. You know, I know atheists who don't even realize that they're not atheists. They just think they are. It's good people. That's the key. It's people that fear God, whether they know it or not. I know atheists that fear God. They have no idea what they're talking about. They just are so indoctrinated. They're like, the Big Bang and evolution. I'm like, why do you tell the truth? It's like, because it's the right thing to do. I'm like, give it time. Benny, stop! Love your streams. Keep crushing. Stay strong. Respect and blessings. Conrad. May I be verified as Boar Bear. Welcome, Boar Bear. And Sweet as Bear. Much love. Oh, your girl, Sweet as Bear? Yeah, welcome both of you guys. I love it. All right, I'm landing this plane. I'm landing this C-130. I've always known where my balls are. That was good. Sweet. I can't even remember what I just said. I've been talking for over 2 hours now. You get a little punch drunk. United we stand, divided we fall. Not even divided we fall. Divided, you don't get to put together the puzzle of the gravy. That's the reality. Divided, you don't necessarily fall. It's not that dire. I know a lot of my friends think everything is dire. Like my friend Crow thinks 5G is a big assault on the body. I think the real problem with 5G is how accessible everything will be to the Internet of Things. That being said, if they start cranking 5G and my dick stops working, lead paint on the house. Because there's a reason they got rid of lead paint. I currently don't think 5G is a situation because the controllers don't even want us dead. Benny, stop it! I think that the 5G thing is just like another tool. It'll make it so you're always connected if you want to be. Whether or not you're in a subway system or whatever, your refrigerator, everything's connected to the web and everything can shut down if you do a racist meme on Facebook. That's what I think the problem with 5G is. Now, because there's no evidence to me that it has this like brain sperm frying situation. I think the sperm brain frying situation is watching screens and beating off to pornography. Once you accomplish that, the little tricky things don't seem as big of a deal. Stop whacking off. Please, may we have another evening stream? Sure. Asbestos, same thing. Right. There's a reason that it's like the black boy ate paint and now he's a retard. Dude, we all know they don't think like that. They do not think like that. The lead paint thing was because certain things weren't penetrating houses. Now, the benevolent version, which could be simply because it could be about control through internet, through, media and shit. It could be that lead paint just simply wouldn't allow Wi-Fi and shit to go into your house and they couldn't push out the internet. It might have nothing to do with making everyone gay. 5G is about surveillance state. That's exactly what I think it is. And so they knew people wouldn't just get rid of lead paint unless they put black babies becoming retarded. Because that's what triggers the feminine, the toxic feminine. Yeah. The toxic masculinity. No, it's actually the opposite. This unbridled, childless, over-entitled feminine, this goddess creature that they've tried to create, that they make it so, you can't drink milk because of the babies of the cows. Meanwhile, they've had 5 abortions. They have a fucking punch card. Who ate the paint was retarded already. It isn't how they work. It isn't, dude. High fructose corn syrup and aspartame and all this and the aluminum and antiperspirants, those are so much worse for you than lead paint. And 5G effects, girls, fine. Everyone says that. I haven't seen it. Me and Amy are cranking children. Cranking. Want to know what really helps? When you stop beating off to pornography and you actually go to sleep when you're supposed to and you get a circadian rhythm. Also, some people just can't have kids. It happens. Also, start younger. Get married at 18. Start having kids at 20. And then let's say that it lowers sperm count or eggs by 10%. You can still have 20 kids if you want. So it's like, that isn't the thing. I think that there's something going on with the lead paint when it came. And dude, I think there's something going around with eagle feathers. But I don't want to even get involved with that. The feds will fucking bust down your door for eagle feathers more than they will blow. And I'm talking to you, Jordan Peterson, cranking all that meth, all that blow. Fucking pervert. All right. Planned Parenthood punch card. Wow. Yeah, I'm a bit of a rhetorical legend when I start going. That's a real way to look at human life, right? Think about how callous you have to be to have a Planned Parenthood punch card. Oof, right in the soft spot. Right. Yeah, I naturally have this rhetorical ability to say really fucked up stuff about fucked up people, so it never leaves their minds. That's why the beast is trying to silence me. Because so many good people are just like, it's immoral. And it doesn't quite work as well as that bitch has a punch card at Planned Parenthood. And then people are like, whoa, I just got punched in the evil part of my gut. What about lead and fuel? I don't know. If I were to guess, I know how they think. They don't care about people getting cancer. They can make money on that. It might have extended the life of gasoline. Always think, like, what would it do to benefit us? Like, all the regulations are always to fuck us over. Always. Uranium, we could have nuclear power plants on every block. It just boils water. It doesn't cause cancer. What causes cancer is our food. All right. Had my first hold at 19. Nice. Definitely not eagle meth. Right. I just don't like bear on bear roaring. What are you talking about, Kyneton Bear? My grandpa told me about wearing a tinfoil hat on your head back in the 80s. Oh my God, he was crazy. Dude, always look at how you're demonized, right? So tinfoil hat, there's something there. Oh, the conspiracy theorist. Why would we go to Antarctica? We just make a mess of the place. We just trash the place. And the poor penguins. Listen to how you're mocked. If they call you tinfoil hat and you don't know what the fuck a tinfoil hat is, like me, they're like, oh, this tinfoil hat guy. Think about getting a tinfoil hat. I'm dead serious. I know how these people operate. Like when Obama mocked Trump in that one dinner in like 2015 where he's like, Donald Trump is too busy figuring out if we faked the moon landing. And I'm like, yeah, we faked the moon landing then. That's how this works. So when people say, oh, the tinfoil hat, this guy's a tinfoil hat wearer. Get yourself some tinfoil and put it in your hat. Faraday cage is a tinfoil hat. Dude, I'm telling you, just be ready for tin and foil. But you'll have a lot of time. You'll have a lot of time to see it coming. Right now, the best thing to do is remove fluoride from your diet to get your pineal gland working again. Aluminum foil don't work. Right, tin. That's why they have aluminum foil. Because the tin would actually block the shit. Tinfoil hat is cliche. All cliches are real. You just have to figure out the reality of it. This guy's a conspiracy theorist. This guy's a Yeah. Most of history is a conspiracy. This guy's a tinfoil hat wearer. Okay. Boys, get some tin. Obama talked about flat earth a lot too. Yes. I mean, this guy thinks the earth is flat. That's how they tell you the truth. Because it's bubbling up, so they have to say it in a real shitty way. This guy doesn't even believe in evolution. This guy over here thinks that diet is better for him than going to a doctor and getting proper medication. When they talk like that, they're telling you the truth. Looking at Faraday cages for smart men. Dude, well, first, get out of cities. When you're in the country, this shit doesn't affect you like it does in cities. Sorry, it just doesn't. Sorry, but not sorry. those giant buildings and having like 20 million rats on top of each other. The human beings, not rats. They should not be killed like rats. I get it. But that type of shit where they can really affect the vibes. That's why it's called a vibe. Good, good, good. Good vibrations. I'm picking up good vibrations. It's about fucking things you can't see in the air. Oh, this guy's a conspiracy theory. So how did D-Day work? Aren't you proud of D-Day? D-Day's the reason that we're not speaking German. Wasn't D-Day a conspiracy? Well, those stupid crats didn't know we were coming because we put out false information. And it's like, you're describing a conspiracy. So when the Germans figured it out, would they be called conspiracy theorists? Hey, a conspiracy theorist! Like, I'll show you this. Like, everybody called me a conspiracy. People called me a conspiracy theorist when I first said that there's something going on with Michelle Obama, right? Because I saw a picture of Michelle Obama, undoctored, and it looked like she had something going on in her dress. Call me crazy. You can call me a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist all you want. You look at this picture and and you tell me what you see. Now that isn't normal female anatomy, guys. Look at that picture. Most of the mainstream media simply looked at this and said, that's not a 12 a 12-inch penis. That's just a normal woman with normal female anatomy. Look at it. Owen's batting 1,000 still. Yes. Dude, it's because it's speak the truth and you can predict the fucking future. I'm going to release the lemons. But just take a look at that Michelle Obama picture and you can't tell me, guys, you can't tell me that there's not something going on with that picture. I mean, that looks an awful lot like a giant black penis. For those of you just listening, it's an incredibly doctored... For those of you just listening, it's a photo of Michelle Obama, and it literally looks like she has a raging boner. Big laughs in the chat, huge laughs, big laughs. Everyone's laughing big. I'm filling everyone in, so later when this is cut up and people say, "Oh, and Benjamin is drinking turpentine," would you like to hear? All right, let me just show you a little something. I'm not telling people to drink turpentine, guys. I'm not, but I will direct you to a video. This guy's a conspiracy theorist. And there's a reason it's horribly shadow banned. Hang on. Money. Check out the Detox Dudes. Okay, so... one second. So turpentine and castor oil, atom bomb for parasites. 285,000 views. 5,500 thumbs ups. 185 thumbs downs. I'm not being able to, for some reason, it won't let me load comments on here, even though my internet is clearly, like, very fast. Dude, read the comments. It's like thousands of comments of people being like, I was dying from parasites, and the doctor couldn't do anything, but the turpentine sure did cure me. And, dude, I'll read you an email that I got the other day. And it's not a miracle cure. I don't believe in these miracle cures. It's just another, weapon in your arsenal in case you need it, in case you have a parasite problem and nothing else is working. But let me just read you a little bit of this for a second. And like, these are the emails I've been getting lately. Turpin. Benjamin. Hey Owen, it's been a long time since I sent you an email. Congrats on Amy's pregnancy and success on DLive. I don't have as much time to listen. And by the way, the dude who wrote it, I love the support. I get it. But just listen to this. But I happened to catch a little yesterday's stream. There are a lot of compounds that are naturally occurring that are also toxic to people, like arsenic. Please, man, for the sake of everyone you love, please don't drink turpentine. I'm not a doctor or anything, but I feel like you'll end up with an ulcer. I've never done anything to hurt you. And I've stuck up for you. Not that that entitles me to anything from you. Dude, stop. People are reacting as if I just ate high fructose corn syrup and Michelob Ultra beer. MK Ultra beer. MK Ultra beer. No one ever thinks why it's called Mick Ultra, MK Ultra. The MK Ultra program. Oh, that's some kind of conspiracy theorist. People were sending me email like, for the love of your family, do not drink turpentine. It's a teaspoon of organic pine turpentine, not the shit you get in art stores, like the good turpentine. It's been used in traditional medicine for thousands of years. And people are like, dude, you're going to die. Go to, just be your own, just learn on your own, right? And if you think going to the doctor and being prescribed legal meth and legal heroin for your mild anxiety and depression may be a bit more of a problem, or your horrifying obesity, or the fact you can't sleep at night, or the fact that if you just had any problems whatsoever, they give you beta blockers where you can't feel your own emotions anymore, and then you drink poison in the tap water. If you are on that path, and you think that me looking outside of that path for something that may be healthy, and I trust health professionals that I know personally. Damn it, Owen, I'm just a doctor, not a painter. Concern trolling. Right, I know, but it's like out of control. Turpentine and castor oil. It's at the Detox Dudes. These guys have done TED Talks on it. And I suffered from paranoia, depression, crippling anxiety, and extreme fatigue for 3 years. Then I discovered the power of detoxification. It brought me back to life. They're powerful stories, and a lot of it has to do with not eating sugar or bread. You know, going through a mild turpentine cleanse. Dude, there's gamma males making a, Ellen Benjamin is drinking turpentine. You guys have no fucking clue what health is. None. And the people making these videos are fat, soft gammas with no families, no jobs, nothing. And they think they could look at me. Look at my face. Look at my body. It's getting harder, slimmer. I look younger. My eyes are brighter. My hair is thicker. And it's not because of turpentine. It's because I'm really focusing now on not filling my body with shit. And I'm trying to starve parasites. And I'm trying to give myself a lot of minerals and nutrition that come naturally from food. We're growing it on our farm. All this stuff. Turpentine, a little bit of that extreme shit. Dude, there's an argument that some really strong tequila is actually good for your gut. Where like back in the day, people would have just a little bit of moonshine or some shit. I'm not recommending it, but Michelob Ultra, I didn't see that. Great call. Oh, dude, MK Ultra. It's called, hang on. 1 second. I see this shit everywhere. Why? Because I'm not scared to drink a little turpentine. It's just called Ultra. Yeah, where's the commercial? The recent Super Bowl commercial that had MK Ultra. MK Ultra beer. I put bear. Beer. I don't know. Figure it out. MK Ultra, booze, and other nonsense. All right. Anyway, people will seriously eat a Twinkie and look at me like, you're the crazy one for doing the type of cleanse that was passed down from generations for 1,000 years. And I'm like, no. A little bit of whiskey keeps you healthy. A little bit of blackberry brandy saved my grandmother from the Spanish flu. I know that because my family has passed down information to each other. I see patterns, BB. I know. I see. Oh, dude, I'm just going to play you guys. Let me see if Shylock Holmes is on the internet somewhere. Please don't be deleted. I think it might have been grabbled. I know we have a copy of Shylock Holmes somewhere, but I think it's been grabbled. I see patterns. I see what's coming, except for what the Jews are up to. What did you do to lose 40 pounds? Well, I'm still losing, like maybe 30. I stopped eating sugar and bread. I'm still jiggly. Like I'm still not, I'm still not at a weight I was even 3 years ago. But it doesn't even matter. It's not about vanity. It's not about are you ripped. It's like, are you carrying so much fat because of inflammation that your life will be shorter? It's on BitChute, BB. Will you email me the video of it, COD, and then I'll get out of here? Email it to my main email. Castor is also the best lubricant one can use in high-performance motor oil, just saying. Yes. It's like if you look at the back of like what's in yellow dye number 5 and all this shit, and people are like, Big Bear, I care so much about you. You want castor bean oil and leaded high octane gasoline. Same goes with food, with humans, same shit. Yeah. Let me see if Guys and Bear came through. I doubt it. He's a mess these days. I'm just kidding. All right, I'll try refreshing. Yeah, I don't know how to download things from BitChute. I'll look it up on BitChute, Guy to Bear. Hang on. Search. Shylock Holmes. Roman Benjamin. There we go. The case of the missing Jew necklace. It's only got 107 views. Come on, BitChute. All right, so I'm gonna add this window so I can just play it for you guys. Yeah. I gotta go feed the little ones, the little goats. All right, it's called Shylock. A lot of you guys may not have seen this.
Someone stole my diamond necklace. Can you solve this case?
I noticed you had a quiver in your left hand's pinky. The quiver in your left hand's pinky is because you had an uncle named Barry. And Barry owned a berry farm, cleverly titled Barry's Berries.
How did you know that about my Uncle Barry?
And you, just like all the other pestilent children, mocked old Barry. And Barry, where's your berries, you would say. Old Barry had enough and pushed you in a well, where you sat for 5 hours, scared, wondering if it was really worth making fun of Barry's berries. Ever since you had a quiver in your left hand's pinky, which is magnified every time you're around a large man who talks loudly with a pipe.
I still have nightmares about that well.
I notice details, I see patterns, I see everything coming a mile away, except for what the Jews are up to. They always surprise me. The Jews, Watson. For example, the Federal Reserve. Can anyone explain that to me? I mean, what do they do besides print fake money? It's not even part of the government. The Jews.
I know a few Jews that are really nice.
I noticed some things about you as you walked in. You had a slight limp on your left foot. You were once a great soccer player, but hated wearing shin guards. Oh, no shin guards for me, you would say to your loving family. And they would say, wear the shin guards. And you said no. Until you got kicked in your leg. You hid it out of pride because you did not want to admit that you should have worn shin guards, and now you limp for the rest of your sad life.
No one else has even noticed my limp.
The only people that can ever trick me, not the Amish, not the Calvinists, not those tricky Quakers, but just one. A tribe so ancient, it can only be called one thing. Jews.
This holds up.
When I invested with Bernie Madoff, I trusted the man. I said, I believe him. I lost it all. I can tell everything about your life story from your shirt. Your shirt tells me that your favorite color is blue. You hate cats, you love dogs, you are scared of the dark still because of one experience you had with spiders as a child at a lake shore. But what I do not know is how the Jews got the Federal Reserve. I mean, why do we think diamonds are valuable? It's just carbon. We can make it in a laboratory. How do the Jews convince us that things with no meaning have meaning? Diamonds are just shiny pebbles. What are we, birds? No! What has meaning? Water, beef, soil, family. No. Carbon pebbles. He's Jew. Elementary, my dear Watson. Oh, there was once a human named John Watson. Served in Afghanistan, saw firsthand what the Jews could do. And the more I became open about what we talked about in private, about the Jews, the more old John Watson became a bit of a coward and bailed. He said, "Oh, I can't hang out with you anymore, Holmes. You sound anti-Semitic." I said, "But Watson, we all know they're up to something." So I replaced him with Teddy Watson. Oh, Teddy Watson, he's committed to the crew. He knows. Shifty stuff is going on with these Jews. 6 million sounds like a very high number to me. 6 million?
Wait, are you saying what I think you're saying?
When you eliminate all other possibilities, that which remains, no matter how crazy it sounds, must be the truth. And it is always the Jews. Of course there is no tobacco in my pipe. I cannot afford it. After my recent economic disaster caused by the banks, I just pretend there's tobacco. Jews. If the Jews are not up to something, then you tell me why this. Why did the weatherman say that it would be sunny? And as I was going to the bank to pay off one of my debts, it started to rain. The Jews did that, and everyone knows it. It was the Jews. It's always
the Jews.
The Jews.
You seem to be a little obsessed with Jews.
If Hitler really killed 6 million Jews, who did the Nazis accounting?
Valid question.
I only have a few questions to ask you about your crime. 1, did it occur on a Saturday? 2, how close are you to a synagogue? And 3, did he own a yarmulke? Did he have 2 separate kitchens? Have you ever seen your neighbor eat cheese with meat? And if so, did he look like he had a lot of shame? If you can answer me those questions, we will have your man. And I promise you, it was a Jew. Illuminati, my dear Watson. The old Rothschilds are up to it again.
I should probably go now.
I've already solved your mystery. I did it before you even walked in the door. It was your neighbor. He's not Jewish. So it doesn't bring me any joy to reveal that it was your neighbor Steve. But he was acting like a Jew. But it was too small time for the Jews. The Jews go for trillions, not your trinkets. Unless they're desperate.
The Chronicles of Shylock Holmes. Dude, the funny thing is, I was really working through some of those emotions while I was writing that. Where I would like, I figured out that a lot of Jews were up to something, but then I would be like on the case of something and it wouldn't be a Jew. And I found myself sometimes being genuinely disappointed because I couldn't blame evil on Jews. Like, there was a time when I'm like, I figured it out. It's the Jews. Because you're not allowed to criticize them and they're involved in so many hijinks. But then there'd be like time after time when it wasn't a Jew. And I was just like, oh, it brings me no joy. But it turns out this one was, it was a Jesuit. But he sure was acting like a Jew. And then it slowly dawned on me that that evil is beyond demographics. And that everybody is capable of going towards the right or the left-hand path. But man, was that funny. It's like, if you tell me this, if Hitler killed 6 million Jews, who did the Nazis accounting? Fact. Oh, and the Teddy Watson character was based on Crowder. Where it was like, the more I would be open about what I'd say in private, the more they would distance themselves from old Sherlock Holmes, old Teddy Watson. Because I would be talking to one of these people, and then I'd say it on a stream, and people would spiral. They'd be like, dude. And I'm like, so you didn't believe it when we were talking about it? And it's like, no, but you can't. I'm like, so you're two-faced. And so many people don't understand that. It's like, yes, I can have a private life. I can keep things to myself. I can keep people's secrets. But like, if we're just talking about how we feel about a group, how the fuck am I supposed to know that that's like, I don't know. It's like, oh, so you don't believe anything you say on your stream, on your show? You're literally just like a whore. It's like, old Teddy Watson. Oh, he bailed because he was a coward. All right, guys. If you want to support the show, grabble for my babble. Oh, and it's not, if you do get any turpentine, which I'm not recommending necessarily, make sure it's organic pine, not what they sell at art stores. All right, dark occultists are often Jews, but not always. No, many times they're not. And look at Dave Weiss. Dave Weiss is a Jew, and he's like an inspirational man. It's constant. It doesn't add up. You can't blame it on one group. Trust me, I tried. My life would have been a lot easier if it was just the Jews. Because I'd look at Steven Crowder and go, oh, he's not a Jew. He's probably a good one. He said he's a Christian. So that means he's one of the good people. And now take Steven Crowder and compare him to Dave Weiss. And who is more of a brave man or a coward or a conniver? Shifty, a tricky little wily little bastard. Awesome stream today. Thank you. You as well. P.O. Box 727, Gig Harbor, Washington, 98335, if you want to support the stream. Unauthorized.tv. After this month, it'll be completely back to normal. Thank you for your patience. Because it was either I did like hour streams, which I know a lot of people like the long ones, or, you know, every now and then we don't upload all of them. But also Owen Benjamin Bear Cave, Owen Benjamin Gravy, False Witness Bear V2, Why Didn't They Laugh on Podbean, BitChute, wherever you can find me on BitChute. Just subscribe everywhere. And dlive.tv/CRROW777 radio for Crow and Jason. All right, much love, everybody. Be fruitful and multiply. Don't be fruity and blow a guy, because you will get gut parasites. I think a lot of that shit in the Bible, in the Old Testament, about diet and sodomy and stuff, is because they knew that if you put your dick in a man's ass, everybody died of parasites, and it gave you a disgusting little personality. And it's all becoming very apparent that that's 100% true. Sorry, Neil, my ass Tyson, but you're a liar and probably a rapist. It's been alleged.